Hello? Yeah, sorry about that, folks. I have no idea what was happening there. For some reason, OBS was defaulting to nothing as my microphone, but should be here now. Um, Howdy, folks. Eric here, back with another standard stream. Appreciate you guys hanging out for a second here. Let's get into it. Excited to play some Magic the Gathering today. Little technical difficulty with that first run here, but no sweat. We are officially online, I believe. Today, going to be playing some traditional standard events, maybe one, maybe two, depending on how things go. We're running Sultai Deserts again. So just to get it out of the way up front, not going to RC Cincinnati. What up, Jay Sather? Not going to RC Cincinnati this weekend. A little unfortunate. I was excited to go, but my accommodations fell through. I had plans to stay with my family and reached out to them. My uncle specifically reached out to him a couple times ahead of time, just giving him like the specific dates coming up. And a few days ahead, I was like, hey, we're still good for this weekend, right? Like as I cleared with you a couple times. And they texted me back and said, oh shit, nope, we're out of town this weekend, sorry. And I said, oh, okay. So a little too late to be getting a hotel room, I think, a little last minute. I'm not really prepared for that sort of commitment for this trip, I guess. But we are still on for RC DC. I have a whole, like, part of the reason that I was excited for RC Cincinnati was that I had family in Cincinnati that I was going to go see as part of this trip, right? And just the fact that they're out of town kind of killed the vibe for me. But my wife and I have like a whole trip planned around going to Washington, D.C. So outside of the tournament event, we still have like a reason to go, right? So that is 100% on, hotel room booked, plane tickets booked, etc., etc. So I will be there for that, bringing Sultai Deserts. It's what I'm rocking. It's what I'm comfortable with. It is, I think, in my opinion, like the most fun deck in Standard that I've played as of late, and I think it's pretty powerful. I think it has a lot of options to attack the meta. The one thing that is different about this list compared to my previous lists is I'm toying around with the a new land cycle from Secrets of Strixhaven in Deathcap Glade. Normally in this spot, I have Blooming Marsh, right? But with the addition of these lands from Strixhaven, I'm curious to test it out. The main difference is pretty straightforward, right? Like Blooming Marsh comes into play, untapped turns 1, 2, and 3. Deathcap Glade comes into play untapped turns 3 and beyond. So the idea here really being that, like, what do we value more, untapped mana on 1 and 2 or untapped mana for the rest of the game? And I think for the most part, based on it, like if I'm really thinking about my play patterns with this deck, it really comes down to the fact that, like, most of the time I want Blooming Marsh on turn 3 anyway, right? That's like the key turn to be able to play a Free Strider Lookout or Outcaster Greenblade and then have access to mana with our Outcaster Greenblade, like untapped mana by grabbing a Conduit Pylons, so on and so forth. So like having untapped mana on turn 2 or on turn 1 is not really that important with this list. It's nice, like, to be able to like consistently turn 2 Bitter Triumph if we need to. But I think my gut says Deathcap Glade or even like Overgrown Tomb might be better. I'm not entirely sure. There are pros and cons, I guess. Like, sometimes you need a consistent, like, untapped black source to be able to Requiting Hex turn 1. If you're on, like, the draw against Prowess, maybe. But to be honest with you, like, even in that case, your opponent, if they have Slickshot Show Off, they're probably just plotting it, right? Moonella1 says 2 streams in 1 week. Nice joke, nice prank. Yeah, I don't know what was up with the technical issues. Sorry about that. So anyway, that's what we're here to test today. Is Deathcap Glade worth the include over Botanical Sanctum? Not Botanical Sanctum. Blooming Marsh. over Blooming Marsh, or is Overgrown Tomb just the de facto best option? I feel like having to pay 2 life has like a pretty real cost with the existence of like prowess in the meta. There is a pretty big difference between being at 20 versus 18, although we do gain quite a lot of life to offset the life loss from our shock land. So I don't really know. Jay Sather says maybe a 2-2 split between Glade and Tomb. Maybe, yeah. Maybe a split is just fine. I think I'm gonna run a full 4 Death Cap Glade this time around. See if there are any spots where it's like, okay, here Overgrown Tomb would have been better, here Blooming Marsh would have been better, so on and so forth. Devin Fuller says, you see the new Golgari crimes list with Free Strider Lookout? Our boy is getting popular. I have seen that floating around, with like the Ice Tills and what have you. Yeah, I think it's been like a solid card for a long time. I think it really has to do with the fact that like Ghost Vacuum is main deckable right now, right? With all of the like is it lists being reliant on their graveyard in the way that they are. Having 1 or 2 or 3 main deck Ghost Vacuums is pretty reasonable. And it just plays so nicely with the Free Strider Lookout. So it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it is Free Strider Lookout. It's a powerful card. It unlocks with Ghost Vacuum. Probably it's the best like synergy piece for it. And Ghost Vacuum's just kind of good right now. So it all just kind of works out. All just kind of works out. Well, hopping into a traditional event here. I've played a couple between streams, traditional events with Sultai Deserts. I think I went 4-1 in both of them, maybe. Maybe like 4-1 and 3-2. But I haven't been playing that much Magic otherwise. With the weather getting nicer here in Michigan, things have been like a lot of outdoor garden work lately, yard work, so on and so forth. I'm not that much of an avid outdoorsy guy, but my wife likes to maintain like a pretty nice landscape area, so I like to help out, you know. I'm a helping hand. I'm the general laborer. Hopping into match 1 here. On the play, this hand's okay. I mean, the mana's like pretty good. No action, but lead on a Restless Cottage. Devin Fuller says, opposite vibes here in Florida. Getting too hot to be outside during the day. Yeah, it's been weirdly muggy today, but I'm not going to complain too much. We had a very, very harsh winter this year. Snow on the ground pretty much 24/7 for 3 months. Opponent leads on a Super Shredder. Let's go ahead and kill that. Hopefully we draw one of our 3 drops here. Go for our Conduit Pylons. Deadly Cover-Up. I think we'll skip on a Deadly Cover-Up for now. It's castable, but we don't really know that it'll be very good against what our opponent's up to. And it's not a very good like proactive draw. We have removal in hand as it is. Best draw right now is probably just like Free Strider Lookout or Esper Origins. I'd be pretty happy to surveil into an Esper Origins off of this Conduit Pylons here. So we'll go ahead and give that a try. Skip on another Conduit Pylons. We're chilling. The thing about this list is there's a pretty high degree of inevitability. We do need to draw some action, but once we start hitting Esper Origins, we're pretty likely to hit into more Esper Origins, so on and so forth. Looks like our opponent is ninjutsuing a Kaito. That shouldn't be too big of a deal. They're going to be able to get a redraw off of it. Presumably they have a 4th land and maybe can replay the Spyglass Siren, but if not, we can just kill the Kaito with our Restless Cottage. They don't have a 4th land, so that's kind of a big deal for us. Garner a little card advantage for ourselves this way. They had to discard an Enduring Curiosity. Interesting. I guess we'll just exile an Enduring Curiosity. I don't think their graveyard is likely to matter too much. Looks like they may still be stuck on mana. Making a Spyglass Siren. Going to try to crack some maps, perhaps. We draw into an Outcaster Greenblade. That's pretty nice. Let's go Greenblade. We'll grab another Pylons, continue to surveil. Try to hit some real cards. I'm assuming they're holding up a Flood Pits Drowner here. Oko the Ringleader. Hey, I'll take it. I will take it. I've been thinking about this, the inclusion of this card lately, and whether or not it's more meme than actually good. And I don't know. I keep waffling back and forth. It looks kind of good right now. At the very least, just being able to, like, filter away some of our garbage right now. Because the thing about Outcaster Greenblade is, it is kind of, in a way, card advantage. It enters and finds a land, right? But the best thing we really realistically can be doing with it, like, if we don't actually need the land, just being able to discard the lands away and draw new cards is kind of powerful with Oko, right? Mango Beard Dude. What's up, Eric? First time I get to catch the stream live. What's up, Mango Beard Dude? Appreciate you stopping by. Opponent ninjutsu's in another Kaito off of this Flood Pits Drowner. Shouldn't be too big of a deal here. We do have double Bitter Triumph in hand. We also get to just fire up the Restless Cottage again if we want to. They're kind of letting us just do that. They shock in a Watery Grave representing Requiting Hex. Okay. Good to be mindful of. Let's just crack the food this turn. We'll just Bitter Triumph the Kaito on their turn. Okay. Connor says it might be better in Arena than in paper. Lots of control on Arena. Agreed. Kind of memey, says Mr. Lucky. Also really like it, lol. It's not a bad card. No, I think the problem with it is that it starts with such low loyalty. But on an empty board, against control, against grindier decks, it's quite good. It's only a one of, right? It doesn't do anything particularly good against, like, aggro or creature-based strategies generally. But it's a good, like, if you want to think about it as like a good diverse threat. Don't think of it as like a 4-mana planeswalker that think of it as like a 4-mana 3/3 elk that also enters and makes a 2 loyalty planeswalker. That's kind of the way I think about it, weirdly enough. I think it's okay. I don't think it's that bad. It presents problems for your opponents to deal with, and if they don't deal with it, it actually, like, can end the game pretty quickly. Yeah, exactly. Munella 1 added, when Oko lives and becomes a green blade, that's huge. Yeah, I think that's kind of the way I kind of look at it too. It's like it forces your opponent to deal with it, you know? Go ahead and try to Bitter Triumph the Kaito. They may have a Spell Pierce here rather than a Requiting Hex. Spell Snare. Okay. Not a huge problem. Flare Soured Springs. Let's conceal the fact that we have the Sandstorm Verge. And we're actually kind of close to just... Like, if our opponent doesn't deal with the Oko situation, kind of close to just killing them. They play a Super Shredder to benefit from cracking their maps here. They swing at Oko with the Kaito, so I could just keep Oko alive here. That's probably worth it. Hits me for 1. The other benefit to playing this card is no one else plays it. So it's... And you may not realize, like, how strong that passive ability is. Being able to, like, copy a creature you control and swing with Oko as well. The floor is too low, says Mr. Lucky. Yeah. In most matchups, I think the floor is pretty low. I can agree with that. But it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Like, it's going to be able to kind of guaranteed swing here, unless my opponent removes my Outcaster Greenblade in response to me, like, targeting it with the triggered ability. I'm going to go ahead and make an Elk. I mean, it's 4 mana for 2 Elks, right? And, like, added annoying board presence. That's not nothing. Play the Free Strider Lookout. Let's go ahead, and I think we can just... Do I just Bitter Triumph here? I could just take Super Shredder off of blocks. I think I have enough, like, material otherwise where I can just afford to take Super Shredder off of blocks here. Force them to Flood Pits Drown. They're not going to be able to, like, get me back for lethal here, right? Grab a Festering Gulch. They get to Flood Pits Drowner me. Targeting the Green Blade. I'm going to copy the Green Blade with Oko's ability here. I guess I just swing at Kaito here. Make them give up some material. They'll just chump with the Flood Pits Drowner, right? Super Shredder grows. Requiting Hex onto the Elk. Super Shredder grows. They're not really putting together a lethal board. I'm at 15. They're going to be able to kill off the Oko pretty easily. Maybe I should have grabbed the Restless Cottage off of the Free Strider Lookout trigger, just to have extra material. Okay, right. They do have to swing at Oko with real creatures because of the Free Strider Lookout reach. That's nice. Okay. RIP. They're not working with too much mana here. Dream Beavers. What's our best draw? Just like Esper Origins, maybe? We have a lot of mana to work with. Ghost Vacuum. Probably too little too late for that to be relevant. Holding up 4 mana could be Enduring Curiosity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe I should have been a little more proactive with the Doomblade last turn. Having to pay the life here kind of sucks, though. I think I get to fire up 1, 2, 9, 5. Yeah, I mean, I can do it all. I'm gonna fire up the Restless Cottage and swing at the Kaito, I guess. I don't love it, but I get to do crimes. I get to threaten the Kaito here. Unless I have like another Drowner. I'm assuming what they have is Enduring Curiosity. Kind of putting them into a position slowly where if they get touched by the Green Blade, they die. There's the Enduring Curiosity. Little block ski. Super Shredder is getting big. I am going to have to kill the Super Shredder, huh? Actually, I think at this point I'm just dead. Right? Because even if I kill this, yeah, I'm just dead. Having to pay the 3 life here kind of sucks. They can just tap down the Lookout with Kaito and then activate the Restless Reef. Maybe not my best game of Magic the Gathering ever. I think this is a particularly tough matchup. I think Kaito really complicates our game plan. And we don't really have actually like good sideboard options for this matchup. Best we can hope for, I think, is we land like an early Green Blade or Lookout, and they're stuck with like Shoot the Sheriff in hand. Duress is almost weirdly like necessary to bring in because we're so bad at managing Kaito otherwise. Kind of a tough matchup all around, to be honest with you. Their counter magic is also pretty good if they like decide to have if they are on like Phantom Interference or what have you. I don't think the river region's very good here. I think the whale's probably a pass as well. Just cut down on the top end a little, try to find our windows to like duress an early Kaito, land an early Green Blade, cross our fingers that they have a relatively slow start. Free Strider Lookout's good here though, just like having reach against their tiny flying creatures. On the play. Okay. Deathcap Glade showing up. Seems fine. About as good as Blooming Marsh would be here. Play a blue source. Pass it back. Surak, pretty good in this matchup. Kind of annoying for them to deal with. Super Shredder, kind of annoying for us to deal with. Go for the Surak. Get on the board. Start applying some pressure. They have a Shoot the Sheriff. Okay. Fine little 2-for-1 here. Tapped land, swinging in. I might just have to kill the Super Shredder here. Oh, there's a Delian Fell. Interesting. There's almost the option of, like, bopping the Super Shredder with Delian Fell. Which is kind of nice in that it may force them to crack a map on the Siren. Kind of putting them into a situation where they could, like, maybe not really be able to deal with the Delian Fell. Alternatively, I could Maelstrom Pulse the Shredder. But then I don't really have any answers to a Kaito in the future, is kind of the problem with that line. Just gaining life seems good enough, says Moonello1. It seems okay. I don't love it because they're going to be able to like actually start managing my Delian Fell pretty quickly with the map in combination with Super Shredder. I'd rather like get something out of this, I think. And I'm not really guaranteed to get anything out of Delian Fell if I don't either like draw immediately or kill something. So they're going to go for the map. They failed to get a counter, which is kind of big. Now if they have Kaito in hand... Okay, they have another Siren. But now my Maelstrom Pulse is looking even better. They hit another land, kind of huge for us. Dream Beavers. And now we can start taking up the Delian Fell to actually like keep them off of being able to kill it very easily. They're going to deal 1 here. Esper Origins. Yeah, I think I like ticking it up now. Kill off their 1/1 flyers. That complicates things for them a little bit. Roll up the Delian Fell. Play another Cottage. Pass it back. And our life total is pretty relevant in this matchup. They shock in a Watery Grave. They have the Ooze. Huge for them. Really huge for them. Gonna force me to fully cast my Esper Origins if I want to pay them off. Also gets to threaten my Delian Fell a little better here. I'll probably just use it to redraw next turn. They shock themselves, though. A little curious about that. Oh, we hit a Free Strider Lookout off the Delian Fell. That's pretty huge for us, actually. Starts to open up our mana a bit. Threatens to block the Dream Beavers. We'll go for a Conduit Pylon Surveil. Skip a Festering Gulch. Gonna wait on this Esper Origins. I wanna actually be able to like pay them off here. Kind of assuming my Free Strider Lookout is gonna get Flood Pits round. Actually, they have a Shoot the Sheriff in hand. I think that's what that means. Getting them with the fact that Free Strider Lookout is a rogue. Outlaw, by the way. So they're not going to be able to shoot the Sheriff my Lookouts or my Green Blades. And I will block here. I think it's better to keep the Delian Fell around, get rid of their Dream Beavers. They're going to get mutagens again. I mean, the ooze in this list seems like pretty good, with your dinky flyers being able to like actually make them real threats. I'm a big fan of that. They shock in a multiversal passage. I'm going to go for a redraw. Shock in a multiversal passage. Does that mean it's like Enduring Curiosity plus Spell Snare? I'm just going to duress them. I think I'm going to hit a Spell Snare here. Phantom Interference. Counter unless they pay 2, make a spirit. Huh. I'm not gonna pay the 2. That's fine. Right? Unless they have a Kaito in hand. Vote on your phones now. You paying the 2 to spike a Kaito here. Wouldn't they have just run out of Kaito if they had it, though? They have like a Shoot the Sheriff in hand at the very least. I think I can guarantee that. So it's maybe worth doing this. All right, I'll take it. What you got? Requiting Hex. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. This is game 2. We lost game 1, unfortunately. I guess I'll play a Swamp here and just start swinging in with the Restless Cottages. Take my window while I can. Depot, I did not go to the RC. And I'm not going to the RC. The TLDR of it is accommodation issues. Family stuff. Not a big deal. I'll be going to RCDC still. But RC Cincinnati, gonna have to pass this time around. Have a land. Oh, they played a land. They drew a land. And we drew a Delian Fell. Okay. I'm kind of surprised they didn't start taking up the mutagens here. Match 1. Yep, this is match 1 of the event. Let's just go double Esper Origins here. Bonnie Paul. Sure. I mean, I think I'm winning this one at this point. There's really nothing they can do. Bonnie Paul just puts us way too far ahead. Hand is just too stacked, and they have a Bloodpit Drowner in hand that we know about. Bloodpit Drowner, by the way, very good into Esper Moduin. Very weirdly, like, super good into Esper Moduin. Like, annoyingly good. That's definitely one of the pros that Dimir has going for it in this matchup. So it taps it down. It can't swing this turn, right? The one turn that it would get to be able to swing. Kind of annoying. I still get to gain some life and draw a card, but... Maps and mutagens for my opponent. Maps and mutagens. I wonder if Dimir tempo players are ever just like, damn, why is my deck just full of shitty little 1/1 flyers? You know? Because in boards like this, it must feel so bad just like top decking a Spyglass Siren. While I'm over here drawing Bonnie Paul, you know? They shuffle in my Esper Moduin. A little annoying. Only just because it's getting rid of my Bonnie Paul there. We draw into another Esper Origins. I think I can just do this plus the Green Blade. Surveil another Esper Origins. I just think this is a really underrated sort of card advantage engine. They do get to exile the second one. Fair enough. We get to put another one in our graveyard. Okay. Mr. Lucky says regarding the dinky 1/1 flyers, the Kaito high is just too tempting. Okay, fair enough. I mean, there's definitely a reason for it, right? Just being able to consistently do the Kaito thing. But still, you know? It's just like Esper Origins is such a crazy late game top deck. The card selection, the life gain, pretty reasonable body. Hits me for 7. It's not nothing, but I'm going to be cracking back for a pretty big hit here. I'm just going to fire up both of my Restless Cottages. They'd have to have like exactly Floodpits Drowner here to stop this, I think. Or Aetherize. I don't know. The sneaky Aetherize. There's Floodpits Drowner. It's exactly Floodpits Drowner to stop this. Is this still in my main phase, though? I think this is still in my main phase. Oh, no, this is beginning of attacks. Okay, okay. Swing on in. Jumperoonie. Doesn't really matter what we do here, probably. I guess we'll play a big green blade. Ping him to 1 and then have a lethal desert next turn. In case they have like a weird board wipe or something. I mean, I don't know why they're still in this game. I don't know why they're still in this game, to be honest. There's nothing they can draw here. Strategic Betrayal. Fair enough. Trampling Greenblade, gonna get the job done. We get to see a game 3. Unfortunately, they'll be on the play. Hey, what the fuck is this, by the way? On the play. They're on the play. Let's bring in our extra duress and then go down a land. And I think that's pretty much all we need to change here. Board wipes are generally pretty bad, except for like the Withering Curse, I think can get paid off pretty easily here. Desert Stew, I think is fine, but generally I think it's better to rely on Requiting Hex and Bitter Triumphs. This all seems pretty fine to me. The one of Oko, it's okay in this matchup. Yeah, I think it's fine. Actually, Oko might even just be better than Bonnie Paul. As far as like not getting too blown out by our big expensive spells goes. Yeah, I think cheaper is generally better here in this matchup. Try to match their pace a little better. Match 1, game 3, up against Dimir Tempo. Not really the king of the meta right now, but still, yeah, it pops up every now and then. Rears its ugly head. Actually, to be honest, I don't think I've ever really been frustrated playing against this deck. It does have some very strong curve outs, some games. And Enduring Curiosity is quite strong. It is a good card. Kaito's clearly been pretty good in Standard. But it's not... I think it's relatively fair Magic. The only, like, crazy advantage that they get is... It's 2, I guess. It's just the fact that, like, if they're already ahead, then Enduring Curiosity draws an obscene amount of cards. And the other being, if they get to Ninjutsu Kaito, then that's a pretty good, efficient play. And Kaito's very resilient. But it's otherwise relatively fair. I think this is a good hand. Early removal for a Super Shredder. Good removal. Good threats. Munella one says, if the pets were to fight, would the cabbage beat the Mecha Sphinx? Is that what this is? It looks like a like burnt pasta on a paper plate. I actually genuinely don't know what that is. Ping them with a Festering Gulch. Oh, it's a Mecha Sphinx. That's what you're saying. That is the Mecha Sphinx. Oh. Okay. It's like brass or bronze. Copper? I don't know. I'm seeing it now. It's just the angle is challenging. Well, if they tap out for a Super Shredder here, I'm feeling pretty good. Run to a Lush Oasis, fine. Go with the Lush Oasis. I'm happy to have double Requiting Hex in this matchup. Pretty huge for us. We'll go ahead and kill a Flood Pit Strauner if they flash one in here. Wan Shi Tong. I mean, I'm going to kill anything that they play to keep them off of fast Kaito. And then let's plan to play Surak next turn, and then turn 4, be able to go Free Strider plus immediately Festering Gulch. Deathcap Glade looking the same as Blooming Marsh here. Arguably better than Overgrown Tomb still in this position. That's the other thing, like, past turn 3 and beyond, Deathcap Glade also beats out Overgrown Tomb, right? They play a Super Shredder, 2 mana available. Let's just move to combat. I'm gonna start hitting them, right? I don't think there's any reason not to do this. Putting a lot of pressure on their life total here. This could get Phantom Interferenced, but I'll be able to get a redraw off of it at the very least. Get a cool redraw. Continue to ping them with the deserts. It's not irrelevant. We've done 3 damage to them with our lands alone. And we have a guaranteed 2 extra in hand. They're at 7? I have to assume they're Kaitoing here. And I gotta be honest, it doesn't look that good. They had a very slow start. Tap down the Surak, give us a redraw. Great. Continues to be pretty annoying for them. Okay, I think I'm just going to go for kill off the Kaito with the Bitter Triumph. And then play the Green Blade, right? This plays around... By doing the Bitter Triumph first, that plays around Spell Pierce, Phantom Interference a little bit. Kills that off. And now if they do have Phantom Interference again, I'll once again get a redraw because of my Surak. Flash Freeze. Surak going nuts. It's drawn me like 3 cards this game. Absolutely the greatest Surak elusive hunter of all time. Super Shredder for my opponent. Who cares? There's no way to play around Spell Pierce here. Go for the Esper Origins. With them being at 7, I'm just going to take the land. This means I only have to hit them once. I mean, I already have enough like land damage to just be able to hit them once here, right? But I think this makes sense to me. Let's wait on the Requiting Hex. We may be able to get 2 life out of it. If they go for like Requiting Hex on my Esper Moduin, I'll be able to Blight. Enduring Curiosity. Okay. Swinging in for 1. All right, well, I'll just go for this now then. Hit you with the Hex. Got to assume, yeah, they have a Hex in hand, so they are going to be the ones to Blight. Interestingly enough, I get a redraw. That must be so annoying for them. 4th card, I believe, from Surak this game. Kind of crazy mode. Free Strider Lookout, hit you with the ping, whiff on our Lookout. I guess I just hit them with the Surak, right? They can't really afford to take this. And I don't really want to block their Enduring Curiosity. I think this is okay. They have to top deck well. They do top deck pretty well. They do have to tap down the Lookout here, though. We hit a Bitter Triumph. I wish I could Bitter Triumph the Kaito in their upkeep, but it has Hexproof on their turn, so let's just do this now. Commit Crimes. Hope we hit a Restless Cottage here. Yeah. Play land. Put them to 5, and now they're just dead to Restless Cottage plus. Ping. Spyglass Siren. GG. RIP. In peace. Yeah, Surak went, like, absolutely sicko mode there. Absolutely sicko mode. Conduit Pylons. Skip on a Deathcap Glade. G frickin' G. 1-0. Off to the races. Up against a pretty serious deck list, right? Pew, 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 pew. Ping you to death. We got a cool, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage from our deserts alone. It's not nothing. That's not nothing. I think you're at a pretty big advantage, like, when your opponent starts at 13 life, functionally, you know what I mean? On to match number 2 against Mr. Dupes. Could be the runback. They're rocking the Shredder drip on the play. Pretty good hand. Trying out Horned Lockwhale, by the way, just because I don't own currently the Unagi of Kyoshi Island in paper right now. I did order one. So this was my list going in for RC Cincinnati when I was still planning on playing that. And it's been okay. I think I'm more of an Unagi fan though. To be honest with you. Valkavan Encampment Plains. So I guess I could swap this back out since I ordered one. Yeah, I probably should. I think I'm actually just gonna hex this and then Esper Origins to try to hit my land drops. I could play a Lookout, but I think getting the voice off the table is pretty good. Conduit Pylons. X. Yeah, I guess I'll just take the Conduit Pylons to be able to cast an Esper Origins next turn. A Johnny. Johnny's pretty good. Makes a 1/1. Oko. Sure. Oko, Outcaster, Greenblade. I guess I want both of these. I think I'd rather show them the Oko because I'm intending to play the Greenblade. I guess it probably doesn't matter. Maybe I'll just take the Outcaster Greenblade, play it next turn, be able to go Greenblade plus Bitter Triumph the Ajani. I guess I'll get possibly an extra 2 mana from Esper Modwin as well. Enduring Innocence. Pretty good cards against us. Very grindy start for my opponent. So we go... I could go Greenblade plus Oko. That actually seems pretty good against them. Grab a Pylons here. Meringue River Regent. Sure. I think so. Because then I can copy my River Regent with the Oko next turn. Make an Elk. Doesn't really matter what I do here. I think I'm just going to hold on the Esper Modwin to be able to guarantee get the trample. If I swing in, they may just block with everything. Another Enduring Innocence. This is shaping up to be an interesting one. Deadly Cover-Up looking kind of good, eventually. It's a redraw. Trample on my guys. So I think I go Maybe I just make another elk. Deadly cover-up for all the innocents is going to be huge, but they might just... I don't really want to give them the opportunity to block. Block with the enduring innocences and have them like become enchantments, right? But I kind of have to take advantage of the fact that I have big trample right now. I think I'm going to roll up the Oko, draw 2, discard 2. I want to hit an untapped land and cast this River Regent. That did not happen, but I did hit a Withering Curse. And Withering Curse lets me actually just like clear all of these dorks out of the way. Let's skip on the whale. Let's keep the land. Skip on the Bitter Triumph. Let's go Withering Curse. Clear their board. Live with the fact that they're going to be able to get their guys here. A little annoying. Ping them. Copy Outcaster Greenblade with the Oko. Let's swing at the Ajani with the Hexproof Greenblade, because this isn't lethal quite yet, but it is pretty close. Oh shit! It's JQJAJRJQOIQI JORISJRORIS. Says, don't have time to watch, but love your channel, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you stopping by. What up? Okay, well, we untap with an Oko, and they're drawing cards every turn, but now I get to cast my River Regent here. Maybe we just, like, bounce the Innocences. I think I want to put them to 2. I want to bounce the Enduring Innocences. I've committed a crime. Let's draw 2, discard 1. Keep the cottage. I'm just going to put them to 2. Play a cottage. Set them back. Gum up their hand. Make them deal with the regent here. Putting them to 2 means, like, the threat of just, like, going Free Strider Lookout plus Ping Desert to kill them is pretty high. Did I win match 1? I did win match 1. I had a very early Surak. I said Erlak. Early Surak. That drew me about 10 million cards. It was crazy. It was kind of nuts. They have an Authority of the Consuls. Well, they just played a pretty nice turn. They played a pretty nice turn there. I don't think I have a way to commit crimes. Split up to kill the Regent. Explore on the cottage. Yeah, it doesn't really do a whole lot for me, I think. I think I'd rather play a Lookout and then explore, right? It's going to give him a little life, but this is cheaper and possibly will just lead to me kind of winning here. Or soon. Deathcap Glade. Go for another one. Bitter Triumph. Is Bitter Triumph good? Yes? Bitter Triumph can clear a single blocker. They're not likely to have a single blocker, though. No, I'm going to skip on that. I don't know. Seems okay. I'm going to go for another Lookout. This opens up the possibility of them blowing me out with a split up, but gives me the chance to, like, maybe just kill them next turn. Swings for 1. Plays a Day of Judgment. Okay. Plays an Enduring Innocence. Makes another guy. So I can deadly cover up all of the Enduring Innocences out of their deck. which is okay. Sandstorm Verge to take them off of blockers is kind of big. Next turn we can go Verge plus Cottage to kill them. If all they do is make 1 token. This has become kind of an annoying game. Well, this is what we got. Even Interrupter. Okay, well, we at the very least we get a chance to see what they're going, what they're rocking here. Seam Rip is not really gonna have any targets outside of Esper Origins. Carrot Cake's a little annoying as far as like chumps go. Mono white tokens, mono white big. I don't know. This is definitely beatable. Full playset of Fountain Ports. Exercise, Esper, or sorry, Even Interrupter. Okay. Pass it back. Carrot Cake. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I can win anymore. I feel like I had a window, but then just like top decking, like going board wipe, kind of ruined that. I can start making food at the very least. Maybe I just scoop. Maybe I just scoop it up. It's kind of funny. I don't know. They're eventually just gonna win, right? Our games 2 and 3 should be pretty good though. Valkavan Encampment. Okay. Fine. It's me for 4. Just sacks the token, doesn't use Fountain Port to sack them. Interesting. I guess I'm gonna be able to keep a Johnny from ulting here, I think. I have enough mana to do this, right? Keep this from blocking. Fire up the cottage. And hex another one. I know, I mean, if they really wanted to stop from going to 4, or from going to 3, they could, right? Send in an Aven Interrupter to block with. I think this is fine. They just make a fish. Yeah, it makes sense. Another Authority of the Consoles is annoying. It's really annoying just because it's like such a game of tiny chip numbers at this point. They're just so close to just dying to possible desert damage, but the little bit of added life gain from me playing creatures is going to be actually kind of relevant for them. Hits me. Draw another desert. I guess we make the same play. Maybe I just hit them here. Probably better to just hit them at this juncture. Now that they're at 6, I have 2 deserts in hand. There's no way they just take this, though, right? Or they do just take this. Huh. That's actually kind of a huge mistake. Them just taking that, I think. They cast an Aven Interrupter. If they go, like, Elspeth here, They definitely shouldn't have taken that 4 damage. That's like kind of a huge mistake. They're gonna go to 1. They can't make fish anymore. If they have Elspeth here, they can hit me for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13, 14, 15. Probably not lethal, but I think it is worth going for like a requiting hex here, just in case. Play around a possible other Aven Interrupter, but now I just get to kill them with a land drop, unless they have another way to gain life. They have a Petrified Hamlet to stop me from attacking with the cottage, but they fucked up big time. I really don't think there was a reason for them to take that damage. They know I'm on these ping lands, right? I've been playing them all damn game. Just block with the Aven Interrupter. Or leave anything back to block, right? Like, the whole point of playing tokens is that you have infinite blockers. Take advantage of that. Okay, well, 1-0 in match 2. Bringing our duresses seem kind of good here. Kind of a weird one. Let's go down to 1 Ghost Vacuum. Like, the first one's pretty good still. It gives them targets for Seam Rip, but I think that's okay. Go down a couple hexes. I think Oko is like pretty good here, actually. Is there an argument for Cease Desist? Yeah, I like Disdainful Stroke for the Elspeths, and it also hits the avatars, but the problem is that's all it hits. I think the first one's pretty good, probably. But I feel like it'd be pretty unfortunate to be like stuck with a hand full of them, and then your opponent also has a Voice of Victory on the field, you know what I mean? Go down the whale, it gets chumped pretty easily, and then maybe we go down a land. 2 Deadly Cover-Up seems okay. Maelstrom Pulse seems really, really good. Withering Curse seems pretty good. Maybe you could make an argument for Surak here. Deceit. Depot says Deceit could discard 1 earlier, bounce and discard. Yeah, I mean, Deceit seems pretty good. It's kind of like, Deceit's kind of like Maelstrom Pulse, right? Just, it's probably not gonna win you games outright, but it is kind of good in every situation. It's never a bad. Like, if you're both top decking, Deceit's a kind of a nuts top deck. I do like this. Maybe we don't need all the Deadly Cover-Ups. With the Withering Curses in. Just go down to 1. They're actually going to be pretty good against Deadly Cover-Up by the nature of being on a playset of Fountain Ports, right? Fountain Port is a hell of a card. Huge fan. On the draw, game 2. Surprisingly won game 1. Did not deserve it, but I will take it. Number 1 tip, if you're playing like mono white token decks, like, you win, you have inevitability, right? Just like survive the game. You're eventually gonna have a board full of annoying little dinguses. Just like, don't focus on not dying. They were so primed and ready for the long game too. Double authority of the consoles to fight back on life total. The only way I win that game is if they take the damage and I get to kill them with deserts. And that's exactly what they chose to do. Like, take the damage, let me kill them with deserts. Obviously they don't know my full deck list, right? But they don't know my full deck list. But you've seen a few deserts. You have to assume I'm on some amount, right? Just weird. Did my opponent fully leave? Did they fully leave? They couldn't handle the embarrassment. Not that embarrassed. It's okay, Mr. Dupes. You don't have to fully leave. No. How could this happen to me? Oh, baby. All right, well. 2-0. Oh, 2-0. Pretty good start. We'll take it. We'll take it. 1080p, 60 FPS. Yeah, let's go, dude. 2-0. For shame. For shame. Just, it's simply too much. It's simply too much. That's right. What's up, feeling fine? Thanks for stopping by, brother. Literally the first thing I saw, +1 shame counter. My mono white tokens opponent took a bad hit and threw the whole match because of it. Well, 2-0. On to match number 3. Pretty good run so far. Pretty serious first match. A kind of serious second match. I thought we were going to lose that first game for sure. Well, you never know. Turns out you never know. On to match number 3 here. On the play, no green mana, unfortunately, except for the filtering from conduit pylons. It's fine. It has potential. Definitely pretty reasonable to mulligan though, but we get a surveil. Maybe hit our 3rd land drop that way. I'm such a fucking sucker. I'm such a sucker. I don't know. I'll keep it. It's fine. It's not great. I believe the great LSV once said, never keep a hand where you need 2 things. If you need like one thing, and the thing I need is 1 green source, and this hand's pretty good, right? But never keep a hand that needs 2 things. And I think this is fine. There's no way I get punished. Especially if my opponent's just playing like mono green cards I own. Bristly Bill. That's fine. We can manage a bill. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, now we're 1 green mana away from like entirely unlocking our deck. Kind of seems like my opponent doesn't have anything going on. We draw a better Triumph, which is a pretty good draw. Hey, there's a green source. Opponent's also stuck on lands? Okay. Okay, we are both no longer stuck on lands. Everything's okay. Everything is right in the world. I'm blessed by the fact that my opponent also kept a hand that appears to be garbage. Play a 4/5 green blade. Practically unkillable now in the face of a when matched up against Gruul list. We now have perfect mana online. Double black, double blue, double green. Delian fell. Next turn. Depot asks, is this the Vastland Scavenger Gruul deck? I have no idea what Vastland Scavenger is. So, oh, is that the new like 3 mana 4/4 Death Touch with the 5 mana like spell attached to it? That card seems really good. Draw an Oko here. Huh. So you're thinking they may have like a smuggler surprise or something like that? It's weird that they have Bristly Bill though, right? It really makes me think that they're just playing a bad deck and like are stuck on like maybe they have a handful of Seers or something like that. I have no idea. I think I'm just gonna make Elk because this threatens killing them next turn. Probably should have done it post-combat, but doesn't really matter. Not likely to matter too much. They may just sear the Oko here. Kick a burst lightning on my 2 loyalty planeswalker. Nothing left to the imagination. Munella one says, just you wait until your opponent is at 10 mana. I guess so. We'll see. I don't think I'm gonna let them get there, but surely they're pretty far away from the Progenitus that they're holding in hand. Dragon Sniper. If that's their top deck, then what's the rest of their hand? Draw a Lush Oasis. I guess I just kill the Dragon Sniper and start hitting them, right? They may have like a Snakeskin Veil for this Dragon Sniper. No? Hit you for 9? Surely they like sear the elk, right? What do you have? What is in your hand? What could it possibly be? It's not lands, because they were missing land drops. Do I... I think I bring in the Disdainful Strokes, right? I don't know. Desert Stews? I genuinely don't know. Let's cut the Ghost Vacuums. Let's bring in just removal, I guess. Cut a land. Bring in 1 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Desert Stews. I think that seems like a pretty safe bet. 3 Duress the people need to know. That's a good point. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Just doesn't play anything. Just doesn't. It had to have been like damage-based removal? Magmatic Hellkites? He was stuck on not having double red, and he had a handful of Magmatic Hellkites. I think that's the answer. Seems good. Horned Lock Whale, probably better here than the Unagi of Kyoshi Island would have been, right? Let's lead on a black source in case we draw a Requiting Hex. Munella one says, maybe the opponent is a big fan and wanted to make sure there's a game 3 after blowing you out right now. Wouldn't they win the first game then? And then scoop on game 2? Or throw game 2? Hits me with Ruby Daring Tracker. Fair enough. Didn't this card used to be standard playable? Once upon a time? I don't think I played during that standard. Yeah, it looks like they were probably just stuck on red mana. Maybe they had like Overlord of the Boiler Biggles in hand, or like a random encounter. I think that's probably what was going on. Play a big green blade here. Let's just get a black ping desert. I think we can afford to do that. And then we'll have access to Deadly Cover up on 5 or Oko next turn. I think that's okay. Bone Horde Dracosaur. Okay. So they were stuck on double red. That explains it. They swing in with the Summon Fenrir. I will block. We draw a Professor Delian Fell. Is kind of outright nasty here. Huh. It's actually probably just better to Deserts do this, though. Play a Pinged Gulch. I get to hit them for maximum damage this way. And have untapped mana for next turn if I need to Deadly Cover up. Gladiolus Amicitia? Amicidia? Gladiolus. Any Final Fantasy heads out there? Enter, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. They just got like a basic. Whenever a land you control enters, another target creature you control gets 2/2, gains trample until end of turn. Interesting. Hit you down to 5. Munello1 says he kind of looks like a giant in the card art. Yeah. It's all about perspective, Munello. See, he's actually a regular sized guy, but the pond or the lake is far in the background, so he looks big. Depot says, when you can't come up with a fictional name, so you smack the keyboard a few times. True, true. Gladiolus kind of sounds like an ailment. Like something you get on the Oregon Trail. Rydia, Summoner of the Mist. Whenever a land you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Okay, I've seen Aspiring Spike try this card in Modern a couple times. Cycles an Airship Crash. Can I be real with you? I have had this card in my deck, like constructed standard deck before, in the sideboard. I don't remember why exactly, but I have had it in my sideboard before. There was a reason, I'm sure. There was a reason, surely. Okay, well, that was a match. We saw the Bonehorde Dracosaur, answered all of our questions. It was close. It was pretty close. Why? My question is, why pay 5 or 6 mana? Why pay 5 or 6 mana for a creature for a 6/7 when you can pay just 3? I'm doing my best impression of that dumb. Why shop at 5 or 6 stores when you can shop at just one? Anyone know what I'm talking about? Anyway, Outcaster Greenblade, kind of a big hoss. Kind of a big hoss. Flexing its muscles on our opponent. On to match number 4 here. Playing against 4,444. Once again, the devil's bargain. Do we keep a 2-lander? Well, this time we're on the draw, though. We don't have any removal. Double Esper Origins. It's kind of slow this time. And my opponent mulligans? Yeah, I'll mulligan. This looks pretty good. A position where possibly... let's put back the extra Esper Origins. A position where possibly Blooming Marsh looks better than Deathcap Glade, right? If we need to turn 2 Bitter Triumph something. Looks okay, though. Draw into a Deadly Cover-Up. Cross our fingers that this is not Dimir mid-range. My opponent lets me draw into an Esper Origins, which is quite nice of them. We draw a Lush Oasis, which is pretty good. Hits me with a little Cruel Somnophage mill action. Interesting. Oh, it is cute. Lunella one says the art of the basic swamp kind of looks cute. Looks kind of cute. It is cute. Wow. River Churn Monument. Oh, okay. So they're trying to do the sneaky, like, mill you out with the Kitsune's technique thing. I guess I just hex the beavers then, right? Hex the beavers, play a tapped land, and then go Esper Origins on turn 4. Or double Bitter Triumph. I mean, this is definitely a position where Deathcap Glade is now forever better than Blooming Marsh, right? Being able to like actually consistently have untapped mana for turn 3 and beyond is probably better than Blooming Marsh. Spyglass Siren. Stock up. I can just Maelstrom Pulse the River Turn Monument, which is pretty good. I mean, their whole thing takes too much. Like, it's very telegraphed, right? If they swing at me in ninjutsu, the Kitsune's technique, they don't have enough mana to also exhaust the River Turn Monument, right? So I might as well just go for the Esper Origins. I could also just Bitter Triumph the Siren. Just keep them off of stuff forever. Maelstrom Pulse it and later cover it up. That's kind of interesting. But I kind of feel like at the same time I'm not really in a rush. Like, even if they do technique me, I have the time, right? I will draw into another land. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not scared. Do what you will. I have no respect for this combo. No offense to anyone that likes it. I think Kitsune's technique is probably fine if you're just actually casting it for 6 mana. Maybe that's better. But at that point, you might as well do like the sorcery speed board wipe version, right? But having to, like, needing a dinky creature on the field and the River Turn Monument combination situation just means, like, you just have too many moving parts, I think. Let's just plan to hold up a Bitter Triumph here. Probably go for the Deadly Cover Up on the Monument, right? They're probably going to play out the Somnophage as well. Requiting Hex on top. They skip on it. They don't play out the Somnophage. That is kind of weird. Okay. I think I'm just going to wipe the board here. Also, being on Deadly Cover Up means, like, if I want to, I can exile my graveyard. Which is good. It's probably not necessary if I'm planning on taking them off of the River Turn Monuments, though. I don't think there's any other effect that's, like, mill equal to the number of cards in your graveyard, but it does make their Somnophages smaller if I do that. Maybe it's worthwhile. I don't really have anything that cares about my graveyard, right? Except for, like, the one of Bonnie Paul. But she is in my graveyard currently. We'll leave the Esper Origins. Oh, and apparently a Conduit Pylons. Even if they Spell Pierce this, it doesn't matter, right? I just exiled my graveyard. Okay. That's fine. It's me for 3. Plays a Cruel Somnophage. It's a 2/2. Let's cast our Esper Origins here. Spell Snare. Okay. I guess we'll just pass. A lot of removal in hand. Tiny little Somnophage. Starts to fire up the Restless Reef. Let's keep them from milling me. Discard this Esper Origins. It'll grow the Somnophage if I do it this way, but that's okay. Oh no, number of creature cards in all graveyards. Oh. Then who cares? Flashback and Esper Origins. Draw into a Requiting Hex. Yeah, I think that's okay. Not the best hits, but we want to keep some amount of material in our deck, I think, just to stave off being milled out. I think I can wait on the Pulse here. Let's just pass. Move to attacks. Sure. I want to start swinging in with the Cottage here. Pressure their life total. Can I swing in with both cottages? I can swing in with both cottages. I think that's probably best. Pretty unlikely that I outright lose to like them having removal here. Pretty likely that my removal's not super relevant. And I can shrink their Somnophage. Can almost kill off their Somnophage just by exiling creatures out of their graveyard. Hit them to 6. Let's set a stop on my upkeep, so I have a window to be able to give trample to my Restless Cottages. If you don't set a stop, or if you don't like hold full control, Arena will just resolve the third chapter of Summon Esper Moduin without giving you a chance to fire up the Restless Cottage, unless you have like holds in place. So, giving trample to a cottage here is pretty important. You can actually, if you really wanted to, you could see your draw before you move into your, like, before you put the trigger on the stack, right? But rather than mess it up, I'd rather just make sure I get my cottage online here. Move into attack. I actually just have removal to kill off both of their guys. 4 blocks. I can also exile their Dreambeavers out of their graveyard to kill off the Somnophage. I can let them have a block here with the Sanctuary. It doesn't really matter because of the trample on my cottage. And they scoop it up. Okay, looked pretty good. Up against this not great mill deck, bringing our Duresses, bringing the Strokes. People talked about this a lot in spoiler season, that you could like, what's the fastest you can do it? Turn 4, right? It's just like, it doesn't contribute anything to the board. It's just loose. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, right? It's not a very strong way to try to win the game. I think the version where you're like doing it with the 6 mana board wipe into turn 7 or what have you, probably not turn 7, but 7th land. I guess you just need 6 mana, right? 6 mana board wipe into next turn, 6 mana mill out your opponent with a Riverturn Monument. I think that version has looked kind of good in some situations, but definitely better than the Kitsune's Technique version, I think. Depot says, I was playing Simic Mill Glacier Siege with Tidecaller and lots of cantrips. You can mill them out by turn 5 to 6 with the right curve. Tidecaller. Which is that the Otter like Lord guy? I'm trying. I can't off of the top of my head remember what Tidecaller was. Exhibition Tidecaller. Not sure what that card is. Bring in our Deceits, bring in our Oko, bring in the Cease Desists, bring in the Surax. Let's go down Bitter Triumphs and our board wipes. Horned Lockwell can go. River Regent can go. Bonnie seems fine. Maelstrom Pulse is pretty good. Ghost Vacuum pretty good. All of this kind of good. Cut a couple lands. Maybe we cut a Cease Desist. I like that. Okay. Depot says, anytime you cast instant mill 3, if it's 5 mana, you mill 10. Okay. Okay, yeah, so just like have that redundancy of the siege, and then just be able to like cantrip a ton, mill out your opponent. That seems okay. At the very least with that plan, it's like you're on a bunch of cantrips rather than a weird deck where you're like needing to have an early creature, but also have the synergies with that are like, and when I set it all up, I mill my like half my opponent's library and they don't die right away. It's like, okay, you did the thing, but you're not actually very close to winning the game. Lead on a cottage here. Opponent has Dreambeavers. They don't even get to do the thing. Let's hit them with a Duress. Hope they don't have a Spell Pierce here. They also just kind of fold to Duress, right? Take the Riverturn Monument. And it's not legendary, so you can get 2 Tide Colors on turn 2. Ooh, okay, that's kind of spicy. I actually do kind of like Glacierwood Siege. It does have the problem where it doesn't contribute to anything to the board, but there are definitely going to be some matches where that's fine. Opponent lets me draw 3 Esper Origins, which is kind of nice. They scry something to the top, which I don't love. The thing is, they need to play... They're not going to have enough time to just tap out. Like, wait to be able to tap out for a River Turn Monument and activate it in the same turn, probably. I guess maybe they could, if this stock up, like, hits a land plus monument. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Go with the Green Blade. Actually, I probably should have gone with the Esper Origins here. That was a mistake. We can do crimes, but I don't actually love doing the crimes here. I'm taking a lot of cards out of my deck. I can no longer sort of like fight on the angle where actually maybe this is right. I can't fight on the angle where I can just like avoid their mill equal to the number of cards in your graveyard anymore. Really? Like if they manage to get the River Turn off, I am almost certainly dead, despite having like the Cease in my hand to exile 2 cards out of my graveyard. Outcaster Greenblade actually turned out to be probably correct by the nature of them having their Requiting Hex in hand. Let's try to hammer it home here. We'll go for an extra free strider lookout. Play our Lush Oasis. Try to grow our Outcast Greenblade. Hit a cottage. Open up our mana bigly. Hit another cottage. I think that's probably correct. With how much mana we're going to have access to here. Swing in for 7, and then next turn be able to commit crimes. Threaten a pretty big attack. They kind of have to have exactly like land plus River Turn Monument here. Orc Big Frighten 2 asks, how does Duress feel with all the tap lands? It's fine. I think it's fine. There's not like a whole lot of stuff that you have to grab turn 1 from your opponent a lot of the time too. That's just part of playing deserts, right? It's the same as asking like, how does Requiting Hex feel with all the tap lands? It's fine. I guess Duress tends to be better on turn 1, but in a slower format where the real targets, Jeskai Revelation, like Monument to Endurance, stuff like that, that's the stuff you want to hit with Duress, right? I guess against like Prowess, hitting an early Storm Chaser's talent could be make or break, because you could deny access to like them being able to do boomerang basic stuff. But outside of that, it's fine. You know? It's fine. It's still worth playing, I think. Especially with those like purely spell-based decks, like the Resonating Loot decks running around. It's very good to just be able to pay 1 mana to take them off of Jeskai Revelation, for example, right? Yeah, Storm Chaser's talent is the one thing where they may have that window to like getcha, I suppose. They hit me with a Kitsune's Technique, mill some cards and die. They mill some cards and die. But to be honest with you, regarding Storm Chaser's talent, it is like a good Duress hit if you do manage to hit there. But I think like the important piece of Duress in that matchup is not specifically hitting any one target, it's just taking them off of a density of spells, you know what I mean? Because all things being equal, you'd rather that you're both top decking, right? Rather than like you're both at 7 cards. Because they're going to win the game probably where you're both at 7 cards, and you're probably going to win the game where if you have an empty board and they have an empty board and you're both top decking, you're pretty likely to win that game, I think. Opponent leads on a Steam Vents. We have a Ghost Vacuum that we can lead with. I think I'm going to opt to do that here. Final match, 4-0. Let's skip on a Horned Lock Whale. Opponent goes Conduit Pylons and Hornlock Whale, and you're just like, okay, we're in for something. Depot adds, seems like Tablet has replaced loot in the meta for control. True, yeah, I've seen that. It looks okay. Loot does look busted, unanswered, but the Tablet is probably just more consistent. Ghost vacuum their op, start cleaning up their graveyard. They must find this so annoying. Like your opponent just has main deck ghost vacuum. I fucking love it. I love it anytime it's relevant. Winter Night Stories. Okay. Sick. Discard an Eddie Merc Crab. Yo. Start hammering out the green blades here, I suppose. Another green blade on top. Well, I'm not going to put it in my graveyard, but I am going to have to shuffle it away here. 4/5 Outcaster green blade. Let's grab a Festering Gulch. I think we can afford to play some tap lands. Requiting Hex is probably going to rot in our hand in this matchup unless they're on, like, Hydro Man? Hydro Boy? Hydro Flask? I don't remember. Aquaman? What up, Jaden? Loot is kind of bad, says Jaden. Yeah, I think it's probably pretty bad. It looks like it has windows where it looks busted, but that's probably only if you're going like turn 4 loot into turn 5 Jeskai Revelation plus Lightning Helix or something like that, right? Yeah, you have to. It's one of those cards where you have to untap with it. Yeah. Go ahead and ping them with our Gulch. 5/6 green blades swinging in. Looks unstoppable. Unfreaking believable. Hit them with another one. Do they have the get out? They do have the get out. Pass it back. Plays a land. They have a window where they can just cast one of their Hearth Elementals here. They don't. Kind of surprised, but I would just kill it. Exile the get out. Another Festering Gulch. Okay, I think it's worth doing that. Hit you with the Gulch. Swing in for 6. Put you to a cool 4. Let's go for the Oko here. This is pretty annoying for them to deal with, right? Just a lot of material for them to have to answer. We call that a 2-for-1 in my book, where I'm from. Traumatic Critique. Deals X damage to any target, draw 2, discard a card. Turd Gobbler! What up, brother? It's Turd Gobbler! Hey, Eric, dude. Sorry I can't stay longer. I've been busy, but wanted to wish you all the luck and good vibes and shit. Appreciate you stopping by, TG. They go for a Traumatic Technique onto my Elk. Depot says, loot is great for Teamer ramp into Math Magics mostly, and Jaden adds, but control decks usually die or stabilize on turn 4 anyway regarding loot. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised people tried it. It's just kind of one of those classic cards where it's like, almost like Sapling Nursery in a way. I'm surprised Sapling Nursery is not as meta as it is right now. I guess maybe like Fecund Greenshell is the better example. It's like, it's solid a lot of the time, but maybe it's just a little too slow and a little too reliant on things lining up for it to be good compared to cards that are just like generically good, you know? They have enough mana to cast a crab here still. So let's make them cast the crab and then we'll be able to kill it with Delian Fell. They cast a crab. Cast the Good Professor. I think this is all okay. We draw into an extra... Oh, shit. Wow, really, really nice Esper Origins for us there. 2 mana to draw into another Esper Origins and surveil a Bitter Triumph to the top. Okay, opponent can't hang with the Ghost Vacuum. 1-0 so far in our final match of the run. Could be a cool 5-0. No, the Professor's chill, right? Gains you life. Friend to all? Aren't all Planeswalkers like your friend and not evil at all? By the merit of being your friend, which they are, they're not evil, right? Your friend, if they're your friend, they can't be evil. Isn't that how it works? Bring in the Duresses. Do we want the Strokes here? It kind of seems like they're like the Spelementals version, right? And not Prowess. I think we want the Strokes. Cut the Requiting Hexes completely. They could have Aquaman, but I think this is okay. Surak for sure. Cut the Deadly Cover-Ups. Although Deadly Cover-Up can be really good against the Spelementals version sometimes. It's usually just better to manage their graveyard, I think, if we have the opportunity to. I think this is all okay. Is Oko good? Cut the Whale. Cut the Regent. I think this is all okay. But what if you are evil? Doesn't that make all your friends also evil? Question mark. But if you're evil, no one is your friend. Logically, right? Because I think if you have friends, you have a speck of good. I don't know. Depot says, I find Ohio State Buckeye fans evil, so depends on definition. Are you friends with any Ohio State Buckeye fans? Because you don't know if they have any friends. They all showed up alone to the game, you know? Jaden says, ex-girlfriend also has friend in it. But not all ex-girlfriends are evil. This hand's not great, but I think it's okay. We'll keep it. Good enough to keep, maybe. Sleight of hand. Depot says, if I am, they're in the closet about it. So the logic checks out. I'm leading on a Death Cap Glade here in case I draw an untapped land, like a Conduit Pylons. Then I'll be able to cease or Bitter Triumph, I suppose. I guess I could cease with a Lush Oasis. This hand is actually kind of weirdly okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay. It looks like they're going for a pretty fast Elemental here. Oh no, they discard a land. Huh. Shocks and Esteem Vents. We draw a land. Huge. Okay, I'm just gonna pass and hold up the cease here, because I think they're gonna cast something here. I'm gonna let them opt, and then I'm gonna let them go for another Traumatic Critique, I guess, and clean up their graveyard. Oh no. Okay. Cast a Flow State. Well, I have a pretty good response to that. I bet they did not see this coming. Take them off of the Sleight of Hand in case they have another instant in hand. And the Traumatic Critique, I guess. Hope this resolves. I mean, they could have like a spell Pierce. The greatest cease of all time. And we draw into an Outcaster Greenblade is huge. They don't, but they have a Get Out, so let's go for the Surak here. Surak pretty good in this matchup. Not very good into Thunderflock, I guess. Shocks in a Passage, plays Emeritus of Ideation. Interesting. I wish I could kill this right now. Ward 2, kind of coming in clutch. We'll take the Greenblade. At the very least, we're hitting our land drops this way. Let's get another black source online. Throw the Greenblade. Yeah, pretty annoying Emeritus there. Would really be nice to have an untapped land at that moment. Gets to cast an Ancestral Recall. I mean, they already have cards, though, you know? Cast a Flow State. Not feeling great. Feeling okay. Practical Joke on the Surak. 2 for 1. Drawn to a Sandstorm Verge. Untapped source. I'm surprised to see this. I haven't seen this in these lists yet. I wonder if they just bring it in against Graveyard Hate, you know? You just have it in the sideboard. Kind of makes sense. Hearth Elemental. Okay, pretty good turn for them. Meritus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in the graveyard. Draw another untapped land. I mean, I just play like... I just kill the Hearth Elemental and play a Green Blade here, right? Hide the fact that I have this Sandstorm Verge. And this is not an elemental, so it doesn't discount a Thunderflock. Dowered Springs, we'll skip on that. Bitter Triumph, let's discard an Esper Origins here. Take our opportunity. Imperfect Balance, as Moonella 1 suggested. Swings in for 5. They're just going to go like another Hearth Elemental into Thunderflock here. Actually, being able to pick up their Emeritus is kind of nice for them, huh? Crab into Thunderflock, okay. Pretty good. Drawn to a Festering Gulch. I guess I just start killing their shit, right? Just bury them in Esper Origins. I probably should have killed the Thunderflock. I don't think it super matters. I probably should have killed the Thunderflock there, though. I'm going to play an untapped land to play around Spell Pierce here. Pass it back to you. Hope you don't have another crab, I guess. Color Storm Stallion. 3/3 haste, ward 1. Has anyone had success with this card? I've seen it pop up occasionally. Kicks a Burst Lightning to be able to put me to a cool 1. Oh, this sticks around. That's nice. That's really good for them. Okay, so I'm probably dead. Restrider Lookout on top. Huh. Yeah, I'm probably just dead, huh? Probably should have played a Green Blade, actually, instead of the Lookout. It probably doesn't matter. Okay. Damn. So a little less graveyard reliant post-board. Maybe we do want the Deadly Cover-Ups. I still think Disdainful Stroke would have looked good in a lot of those cases. Maybe Deadly Cover-Up is better than Maelstrom Pulse in this matchup. Maelstrom Pulse is a little slow. Deadly Cover-Up's a little more powerful. Bring in a land again. Maybe we don't want the Deceit on the play here. Maybe we want 2 Okos on the play instead of Bonnie Paul. Take advantage of a fast turn 4 Planeswalker or what have you. Winnable. For all the marbles here, winnable. Pretty good opener. Early Cease to manage their graveyard into actually really big Green Blades. Kind of a problem for them. For all the marbles here, folks, the cool 5-0. Otherwise, 4-1. Not a bad run. My opponent mulligans to 6. Depot says, regarding the horse thing that I just saw, yeah, it's great in the Maestro Opus deck. That 6 mana, draw 3, get 5 mana into a kicked Burst Lightning. And you got 4 5/5s coming at you and burn 4. Then you flash back at 5 mana, spell off, created Stallion, and gets nutty. Yeah, I could see it getting out of hand. Just the fact that, like, the copies stick around. I don't think I realized that when I first read it. Really threatening to end the game quickly if you manage to do the thing, but... And also the fact that it has Ward 1. I think if it didn't have Ward 1, it'd probably be pretty unplayable. Or certainly just less playable, but Ward 1 is a kind of a big deal for a card like that. I think I just ripped the cease right now, right? Because I'm gonna cast these green blades. Hit a duress. Maybe I just duress a get out here. No, I'm gonna go for the green blade. If they have get out, they have get out. I think it's just too good if I resolve this, right? They do have get out. Winter Night Stories, fine. So I get to go green blade into duress at the very least if I want. Disdainful Stroke, huge draw. I think my green blades are sufficiently large. I can afford to grab a swamp here. Duressing a Ral is kind of huge for me. Woo. Duressing a Ral, kind of huge for me. And we have a Disdainful Stroke for this Sunderflock. I guess I'd Disdainful Stroke the Hearth Elemental if I get a chance to. They're going to give me the chance to. Weird. They have enough mana to be able to cast the Hearth Elemental if they want. Huh. Huh. Well, I have to grab a... I guess I just have to play this island here, right? To be able to hold up the Disdainful Stroke. Swinging for 4. They have an Eddy Merc Crab. Okay. It's better to counter the Sunderflock, right? Or is it better to counter this? If I counter this, I get to hit them, and they have to go Hearth Elemental Sunderflock next turn. One, two, three, 4. I guess I counter the Sunderflock. Huh. Grab a ping land. Keep our options open. We already have an untapped source. Going for the Sunderflock. Gonna counter this. It would be nice if my green blades were 5/6s in this position. They cast the Winter Night Stories rather than attacking. That could be kind of important, like an important choice for us. Shocks and Esteem Vents could have another crab. We draw into another Disdainful Stroke. Holy smokes. Go for the green blade here then. I think I'm going to continue to hit them, ping them to 16, hit them to 6. I guess another ping land doesn't really matter. So let's grab a Conduit Pylons here, but play the Gulch. They let me swing. Second Disdainful Stroke is just so good. They bounce their Eddy Merc Crab. They don't counter my Green Blade with the Get Out. Instead, they bounce their Crab. That's weird. Cast a Winter Night Stories. Oh, they're so fucking dead. Pays 3 mana on this turn to Winter Night Stories? Dog. Sleight of hand. Okay. Surely we could have done better than that. I don't know. That didn't... that seems a little weird. But a key Disdainful Stroke, countering their... I kind of feel like they played out those last couple turns a little weird. Not respecting like the fact that my Green Blades were just going to kill them in 2 turns, you know? Well, folks, a cool 5-0 for Sultai Deserts. A cool 5-0. Pretty real matches this time around, save for the mono-white opponent that left halfway through and the Gruul list that was just like cards I own. But other than that, pretty real matches. Let's see what we open. Currently rocking 60 play-in points. I don't really know what to do with them, but I do have them. Ardent Academic, a card I'm kind of excited to test out with. Looking forward to getting a playset of those guys. Aziza, Mage Tower Captain. Jin, Sorcerer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 3 untapped creatures you control. If you do, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is an EDH card. Emeritus of Woe. 4 mana. Enters prepared at the beginning of your end step. If 2 or more creatures died this turn, this creature becomes prepared. Demonic Tutor. Dies to Seer. Seems kind of okay for, like, EDH, I guess, right? Seems pretty good for EDH. A little slow for Standard, maybe. If this was a 4/5, maybe we would be talking. But I think with the presence of Seer in the format, this is probably not good enough. If it was like a 4/5 lifelink in Standard, this would be like a nuts card. It wouldn't be busted, but it would be like pretty playable, I think. Wild Growth, Archaic. Hybrid 2 generic or green. Hybrid 2 generic or green. Avatar 0/0, Trample, Reach, Converge. Enters with a 1/1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. So it could be like a 4 mana 4/4 or a 3 mana 3/3, but not a 2 mana 2/2. It's like, okay, and then whenever you cast a creature spell, that creature enters with X additional 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast it. So I think the most efficient place you could be with this card is like cast it for 3 in a 3-color deck, and then cast like turn 4 hasty 4-drop, maybe? I don't know. It's neat. I think the fact that this is bad on 2 is probably what hurts it the most. If this could be like a 2 mana 2/2 or a 3 mana 3/3 or a 4 mana 4/4, I think it could be okay. Turn 4 Boyd, okay. Yeah. Seems kind of good. Probably not better than like Badgermole Cub in 99% of scenarios, but interesting. All right, folks, a nice little 5-0. Should we jump into another one? Keep it rolling? I think let's jump into another one. Keep it rolling. Oh, let me swap out the Horned Lock Whale for an Unagi real quick. Munella once says it has reach though, and people never read if a card has reach. That is true. That is true. Yeah, I think this is kind of the list. Still not like 100% sure if Cease is better than like more Ghost Vacuums in the sideboard, but having options against the Unholy Annex, like Verdot core lists, I think that's pretty good. Maybe the one of Oko is a little unnecessary from the side, but it's not bad. Pipo says, Umami of Sushi Island not seeing much play lately. I think it's a pretty reasonable one of. It's never that bad if you just have it as a one of. People don't really expect it. Munella one says, I remember when you said you wanted to try out the whale, and now it gets sided out. I think the problem with the whale is it's not like that good in any one matchup, and it, like to be honest, like the matchup that it is good in is your opponent taps out for a big creature and you get the tempo advantage of like having flexible removal against them, like just bouncing their guy back into their library. But we're already so good against those decks with how much removal we have. It would be different if I was like mono blue, right? And that's kind of like the only form of hard removal you kind of get access to. It's not a bad card. I don't think it's that bad of a card, but they're just better cards. I think Unagi has the potential to be more like the floor is about as high as the whale, but the ceiling is like so crazy high. Intimidation tactics. Jay Sather says people definitely don't read to see if cards have reach in paper. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like to be the kind of guy at F&M at least where it's just like, hey, by the way, don't make a dumb attack into this that has reach. You know what I mean? At F&M, when I'm playing cards that I know people don't see too often, I think maybe at one point in my Magic career, I made the mistake in my mind of being that guy for a moment where I was like, there are stakes on the line, therefore we're playing for with some amount of like, I don't know, we should play like a serious game of Magic, right? Where you read my cards that I play and I don't tell you stuff like that. But it's at the end of the day, it's a game. I don't think winning by catching your opponent that way is very fun, I guess. Opponent has a Demon Wall, but they're stuck on 2 mana. I think I'm just gonna hold my Maelstrom Pulse. See if they have the Unholy Annex here. I'd rather just kill an Unholy Annex than a Demon Wall, right? They do have the Annex. Untapped Source for my Unagi could be the move. Delian fell. That's actually probably just better than Pulse here. Just kill off the wall. Jay Sather says, I hate the angle shooter type of player. Yeah, like at Comp REL, I think that's okay. Where you are giving as much information as you're required to your opponent, and you're not trying to like scum a win out, but you're also just like putting the onus of information acquisition into that. Like they have to be the ones to seek the information, right? You don't need to freely offer anything up. I think that's okay. But if it's like, if it's F&M and it's people showing up after work on a Friday night and just hanging out for vibes, come on, let's be cool, right? You know, there's no need to be a jerk to the people that you're probably going to be seeing every week, especially, you know. Jay Sather says, do you think RC and up, right? Or do you think RCQ and up? I think if you're playing Comp REL, which I think RCQs tend to be Comp REL, you should don't be a jerk, but at the same time, it's about it's up to you. It's up to you in the vibes with your opponent. In this scenario where like my opponent has a Deep Cavern Bat and I have a Free Strider Lookout and they move to attack with the bat, at F&M I'm going to say, hey, my guy has reach. At an RCQ, I'm not. But I think that's okay. I think that's kind of like the environment in which that's kind of okay, right? They have the opportunity to read your cards. You're playing for, you have real stakes, you know. You're not denying them information. You're just not actively giving it to them. Munella one says, I'd always tell them it has reach, but I'm not competitive enough at heart to be serious. It's not even really competitive at that point. It's more like, it's not like, I don't think it comes down to whether an individual is competitive. I think it's okay if you want to offer up that information. I just think it's like, that is the environment with which you are expected to like take, like, if you're showing up for an RCQ, right, you should be reading your opponent's cards. I think that's just kind of what it comes down to for me. If you're not familiar with a card, like if you've never seen Free Strider Lookout, just read it real quick. It says it right there. Reach. We whiff on our free strider lookout. That's what I get. I guess. Casting Esper Origins here. We do have double blue for our Unagi, which is kind of huge. I think I like drawing into the Ghost Vacuum because it gives me a chance to do a lot of crimes with my free strider lookout here. And then leaves up mana to be able to cast Unagi. Jay Sather says, I mean, normally you should know these cards unless someone shows up with Sultai Deserts. Yeah. Normally you should know what your opponents are up to. But in the off chance that you don't, like, I don't think there's any shame in just reading your opponent's cards. Hey, can I see that? Hey, can I see that? Like, I really don't like... I, as a player, am constantly asking to, like, hey, can I pick that up and look at that and read it and make sure I understand what's going on, you know, in this game, rather than expecting my opponent to read it for me. And your opponent should probably read it for you in the case that it's, like, a limited, like, a pre-release. I'm playing a new card that no one's really played with before, right? Shit, it's a Bloodletter. That's not good. I guess I start gaining life, right? Play Ghost Vacuum. Guess it probably doesn't super matter when I elect to do the crimes. Let's just wait on the Ghost Vacuum activation. Pass. I don't think I'm dead quite yet unless they have that Rush of Dread card. Is that what it's called? Duress me. You know what's in my hand. You know what's in my hand. What up, Devin? Welcome back. We are 5-0. We won our first run. We are currently in the second run. I will play until about 5 o'clock, unless I manage to get through this quickly. But I'm off to kind of a slow start because I've been yapping. TBH. They can't really swing at me. Feeling pretty okay. I get extra cards off of my Unagi here. Can't really deny me the extra cards. Let's draw the green blade and then activate the Ghost Vacuum here. Maximize the chance of us hitting a land. Grab a Sandstorm Verge. We have enough colored sources. We can kill off the Bloodletter with Delian Fell. We can kill off the Demon with a Bitter Triumph. Feeling pretty good here. Do crimes. Could also just kill off the bat and wipe the board. I think I'm okay with this, though. I could get a second Ghost Vacuum going. I think I'm just going to bury them in card advantage here. Which is kind of funny, because, like, they are playing the deck where you just bury your opponent in card advantage. But I actually think I'm going to get to do it faster than they will. You know, it probably would have been better to swing. Yeah, it's just better to swing here, right? Put on a stop. Make sure I get to cast this Bitter Triumph. I think I can afford to pay the life. Yeah, I think I can afford to pay the life, right? No, let's just discard the Green Blade. We're so far ahead. They can't answer the Ghost Vacuums. The only way we really lose is by, like, them getting me with like, some sort of, like, game-ending combo, right? They're going to be able to swing with the Deep Cavern Bat in my Delian Fell, but I just have, like, too many man lands here, I think. And the option of, like, rebuilding my board with Ghost Vacuums, which they can't deal with. They also don't currently have a demon, so they're going to be losing some life to Unholy Annex. I think this is okay. Archenemy's Charm. Kind of hilariously bad right now. Into double Ghost Vacuum. Festering Gulch on top. I'll skip it. I didn't do the math as to whether or not the final ping land would be lethal, but double Ghost Vacuum, yeah. Deep Cavern Bat. Did they draw a card anyway? Wait. Did I miss something? Double Deep Cavern Bat, huh? This is match 1, isn't it? Unagi draws me 2 cards off of their Unholy Annex. I bet they hate running into this. Kind of surprised they didn't swing into the Delian Fell, but maybe they're just dead if they do that. I have enough mana to activate a Verge and Restless Cottage. That's probably the play. I think I want the Deadly Cover-Up back. Do Crimes. Draw into another Esper Origins. Yeah, I think they probably hate it, Devin. I got to assume they actually hate my guts right now. Swing at ya. For a lethal attack, and they take it and die. They take it and die. Oh, you draw an extra card every turn? Well, what if I draw 2 extra cards every turn? How about that? Pretty good first game. I think this is like a... Requiting Hex is okay, but I think Desert Stew is a little more generally useful. Go down a land. Could be a cease desist angle, pretty good into a board of Unholy Annexes if they manage to do that. Also, Demon Wall is an artifact, also Furdot Core, so on and so forth. I think Surak is generically pretty good here. Deadly Cover-Ups, meh. Withering Curse, meh. I don't think we really need board wipes. It's more of a battle between who manages to stick their card advantage engine. There's also a pretty good argument for Duress in that case. Bonnie Paul's eventually pretty good. The River Regent's okay. Unholy Munella 1 says Unholy Annex, less than symbol, Arc of Hunger. Maybe. I do like the Arc. There are some boards where Arc is good. It's iffy. Not the best card ever printed. Take out an Oko. Actually, I think Oko is kind of good here. I think our deck is just kind of good against what they're doing, huh? Maybe we don't need Hex that bad. $61 card special, fuck it. I don't really ever do this seriously, but sometimes you just don't know what to cut. It'll be fine. No, getting punished for 61 cards. This is okay. Get rid of the C's here. Munella 1 says, put in all cards and don't cut anything to put fear into your opponent. Oh, now there's the play. Lead on a Cottage here in case I need to turn 2 Desert Stew. I don't think I will. I think they're gonna play a bat here, and I'm gonna be pretty immediately thrust into top deck mode, which is okay. I think my top deck mode is pretty decent. Another Ruthless Negotiation. We'll skip on a land then. Just go for a Lush Oasis. I think this card is interesting. I actually don't think it's that bad. Giving your opponent a choice is not good, but I would imagine it's kind of good against the prowess decks in a way. Once again, just the matter of like being able to reduce their overall density for 1 mana, right? And then late game, the fact that it like draws you a card for five mana, like 2 for 1, not that bad. Not being able to see the opponent's hand is not great, but you can deduce some information. Top deck Unagi is kind of huge for us, I think. Let's not play the Green Blade then. We'll just play into Desert Stew the bat here. And then we can go Green Blade next turn for an island to be able to cast the Unagi. Another bat. Okay. Deserts do this bat. Peep my Green Blade. I'm not saying this is a great card. I just think it's interesting. I just think it's neat. Play a tapped Cottage. We are in the range of having our Unagi online. If they go for an Unholy Annex here, I think we it's kind of weirdly like a death knell for them, you know, if I just get to outpace their card advantage that way. Strategic Betrayal. Devin Fuller says, I just don't feel too ruthless negotiation into two Cavern Bats is very good at all for 4 turns. Yeah, I mean, they don't really have a whole lot to show for it, right? That's fair. They don't have a whole lot to show for it. I think it's an interesting grind card. It in certain matches, it's kind of interesting, is all. Bloodletter. Hit you with the Unagi. Cross our fingers that they don't have another Strategic Betrayal, I guess. Go for the Lookout. Well, let's empty our hand, I guess. Sandstorm Verge seems okay. There's also the option of just surveilling. I think Surveil is pretty good. Surveil into an Esper Origins, huge. I love it when it happens every time, and it never gets old. Genuinely never gets old. Shoot the Sheriff. Wow. Tapping both of their guys and 2 extra mana on their upkeep. They don't even see their extra card. They don't need to know. Let's play around future Strategic Betrayal, I guess. Go for the Esper Origins here. Moonella1 says it will be a sad day for the channel when Esper Origins rotates out. Yeah, weirdly enough, I don't really know how it happened, and I don't talk about it too much, but this is like one of my most cast cards. I feel like it makes the list in so many of my decks. Yeah, we'll take a look out. I feel like I might as well just play it here, right? Might as well play a land. Make their flashback ruthless negotiations that much worse. There's the Annex. But it might be too little too late. I think I actually get to swing with both of the cottages here. You don't really get to attack in profitably. Outcaster Greenblade off the Tizop. Probably just better to swing with 2 cottages, though, right? Exile their negotiations. Trigger the crimes. Do pings. With. I just think this line sets up too nicely for like lethal next turn. They kind of have to board wipe or bust, and even if they... Oh no, they're just dead. Wait. They didn't do the math. They didn't do the monster math. They just rolled over and died. Okay. I guess. I mean, they were probably losing that game anyway, right? If they had to block with the bat, right, then giving me back the Maelstrom Pulse, being able to clear their graveyard of the Ruthless Negotiations. Is that what that card's called? I don't remember. Anyway, want to know. Off to a good run. Match 2 here against the MKK. 420 Blaze It, by the way, for all my weed smoking pals out there. All my weed smoking pals living in the Eastern time zone. Blaze one up from me. Hit you with a Festering Gulch. I guess we'll hit you with a Cottage turn 2 here. Munella 1 says, but it's 515? Maybe where you're from. Cool but rude for my opponent. Well, I'll show you something that's cool but rude, and that's untapping with a Free Strider Lookout, so you better do something about it right now. It's like this is the Mardu discard list. I've not played against this, but I've seen it in the MTGO results now and then. Rotting Mako. Another Free Strider Lookout. Well, I have the chance to go double Lookout. I think I'm going to take it. I think it's just too fun and good. Do Crimes. I obviously could, like... I think I want double blue online in case I want to play the Regent next turn. I obviously could, like, double trigger my 1 Lookout, right? By going, like, play a Gulch and then hex the Shark on their turn. But I don't think I'm that likely to die from this position, and it just gives me way too much of a mana advantage if I go for the double Lookout line. It's a turn 5 Regent threatening to, like, swing with double Cottages on turn 6. Tursa from my opponent. A lot of damage to me. I guess I could just trade with a Lookout here. Yo! Desecrex Gift of Servitude. The Eric MTG Classic. Shout out to Grixis Abhorrent Oculus. Grixis Oculus. Practice Offense. Huh. Cool. Seems good. Swings for 4. Okay. Draw into a Conduit Pylons is actually kind of big game because that'll let me cast the Requiting Hex on top of this Regent. Skip on the Green Blade. Increase our chances of hitting a land here. Leave up a Black Source. Do Crimes. It's just so much mana. Cool, but rude. Okay. And you're just dead, dog. If you're spending 2 mana on a do nothing enchantment, you are just dead. And levels it up? Come on. Can I interest you in a Requiting Hex? Cool but dead. Get his fucking ass, dude. Get his ass. Good one. Cool but dead, more like. Cool but dead. Okay. Ghost Vacuum seem pretty good. Cease Desist probably pretty good. They seem very flashback, like graveyard oriented. Withering Curse probably not good enough. Not enough, like... Not enough little cheap guys, probably. Unagi could be good on certain boards. Bonnie could be okay. Got a land. Devin says, I feel like strategies around 1/2 drops are kind of rough with the Hex in the format. 7 power Shark, dead for 1 mana. Yeah, but yes, they keep each other in check, right? I guess is kind of the thing. Like Super Shredder looks nuts if you are not in a format with like cheap removal to be able to interact with it, right? But cheap removal would not be very good if there weren't like those scaling threats in the format at the same time. I guess cheap removal is kind of always good. I think you can see it kind of in a way how they've been designing these cards though lately. Is just that like, take for example Super Shredder or Marauding Mako. They design these like more powerful scalers because they are also including cheap interaction in the format. Going back to like Badgermal Cub, who I find very annoying. It's like a 2 mana. It scales by the merit of giving you a lot of mana. But it's also like weirdly a value creature at the same time because it leaves behind a 1/1 even if you kill it, and then like further enhances your future Badgermal Cubs. Bring in the Desert Stews, take out the Oko, bring in the Desert Stew. I think that's okay. Vanilla One says Enduring Innocence exists though. Yeah, I mean there are definitely going to be cards that like don't get hit by Requiting Hex. I think this is okay. Seems like a fine hand. We can turn 2 Hex if need be. I think Hex is like a good power level for this standard. It's not too strong, but it is kind of necessary in a way. I think if we lived in a world where black removal didn't exist, like these kinds of strategies would be devolve into like who's on the play way more than they already do. Because look how big they can get this Moon Shadow. It's a 1 mana that's going to be attacking as a 3/3 on turn 2, as a 3/3 menace, threatening to attack for 1,000,000 on the following turn. Like, if I'm a red player and I just have Burst Lightning, like I have to top deck Burst Lightning on turn. Like, you have to have it in your opener, or you just die to these boards, right? I don't know. Draw free Esper Origins. Love to see it. I think you just deal with the Moon Shadow, right? I don't know. Devin Fuller asks, you in the Badger Band camp? I go back and forth. It feels like I feel like it looks more powerful every set. I am in the camp of like they shouldn't have made that card in the first place. Or like if it was a 1/1, it wouldn't make that much of a difference, but it would at least feel like less of a generically good card. Or if it specifically said like land creatures you control tap for more mana. I think it's just probably just too generically powerful. Do I want it banned? Do I want it banned? I haven't seen it a whole lot lately. Devin Fuller says, I think it maybe should have cost 3 to 4 mana. Definitely could have been a 3-drop. I don't know that it would see play in Standard if it was a 3-drop, but it would see play in like EDH still probably. It might still see play in Standard. Opponent off to a pretty blistering fast start here. I guess I just play an Esper Origins here. Gain some life, get some blocks going. They could have Requiting Hex in hand, which maybe is a reason not to do this. Take an untapped land. Seems pretty good. Do I want Badgermal Cub banned? Do I want any ban? I don't know. Standard's kind of okay right now. I think Badgermal Cub is really frustrating when you are on a deck that can't manage like a lot of little things on the board very quickly. And I think it does some inherently busted stuff in multiples outside of those situations. I think the meta is pretty prepared for it. Sunderflock makes a pretty big deal, like makes a pretty big difference. It's a good check to it generally in the format. It's too strong for standard, right? For the kinds of standards that I enjoy, but it seems to be fine. It's not like the best thing that you can be doing in standard, right? So I don't know. I don't know. They have a cool but rude. I feel like I want to get this Delian Fell going. Drawn to another free Esper Origins? Let's fucking go. Maybe I just want to do that. I wonder if I can just kill them by doing this. Go like Esper Origins into Greenblade. Or maybe I just Deserts do the Academic here. Keep them from being able to like discard free stuff, get lifelink, so on and so forth. I think this is okay. They're not going to be able to kill me next turn, right? Hit them for 4, and then next turn gain a little life off of a Requiting Hex. I think this is okay. Level up the cool but rude. They can't really swing into me. I think if you asked me, Devin, I'm still on this Badgermole Cup thing. I think if you asked me like 2 months ago, I would say, yeah, ban it, just because like the presence of like the Simic Ouroboros and Bant Ouroboros and Toolbox lists was so high. And I think those decks still do powerful things, but I also have to recognize like the kinds of decks that I tend to play aren't that good into those strategies, right? But I think the kinds of decks I play tend to be kind of good into Prowess, and Prowess tends to be good into the Badgermole Cup decks, right? I think that's kind of the rock, paper, scissors going on right now. And it's okay to have decks in the meta that your deck just can't beat, right? I think that's always kind of been the case with Magic. Munella one says, I can't believe the Eric mellowed out on Cub back in my day. I think it's still dumb. I still think it's dumb, but if we're just like taking a numbers like statistics based approach to bans and whatnot and trying to keep like a cool head about it, it's not quite dumb enough maybe to warrant a ban. Me gain life. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I guess I'll do this post combat. Hit you for 6. Absolutely just ranch my opponent, by the way, with all of this going on in the backdrop. Like, what were they supposed to do about this? How am I actually so far ahead right now? Just like so on all metrics. They had cards. They played cards. Ooh, Case of the Crimson Pulse. I like that card. All right, good game. Hits me with the Bloodghast. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll send I'll redirect the question into the audience. Is Badgermole Cub still ban worthy? Curious to hear people's opinions, I suppose. Been a while, I feel like, since I've read my last like rage thread about it on Reddit. It's a card I don't build with because I have had some brews on the channel with it, maybe like 2 or 3 times, but generally I avoid it because I think you look at a deck that has Badgermal Cub in it and assume, I don't know, I think on a certain level I strive to make decks that are budget, or at least something that I would play in paper is kind of the idea. And when I start like filling a deck on MTGA with Ouroboros and Badgermal Cubs and Quantum Riddlers and stuff like that, there's a part of me that says, yeah, but I'm never going to play this in paper, so why am I even really trying it? Because at the end of the day, I am an F&M like player at heart. To me, the heart of Magic is like showing up to your weeklies and just like hanging out with the people you see every week and testing stuff out there. And if I know realistically I'm not going to be playing Badgermal Cubs and Ouroboros and Quantum Riddlers, right, then to me, putting up videos where I'm testing those cards, even if I think it's kind of an interesting idea, it's a little disingenuous because it's not something that I would actually sleeve up and play. Munella 1 regarding the Badgermal ban. Yes, but more importantly, how expensive do you think the pizza on Cool but Rude costs? It looks huge. That is more important, huh? Devin says, turn 1 elves into turn 2 cub with 2 mana from your land drop that turn is a little nuts. Agreed. Agreed. Jaden says, I think the entire earthbending mechanic is problematic, but it's really good against control, which I play. So, yeah, true. Depot says, would earthbend be too weak if it added a stun counter to your land if it's destroyed? Yeah, I think at the end of the day, calling into question whether or not earthbending is too powerful is a pretty good place to start. Hit a free Esper Origins again. I mean, you love to see it. I'm not going to complain anytime that happens. Present my opponent with a big blocker here. I do think earthbending is kind of inherently busted. It would lead to feel the conversation that people were Wizards was having in the design room, by the way, was something like, okay, but what if my opponent exiles the lands, right? Like, wouldn't that just feel so bad if I earthbent all of these lands? Imagine the dream scenario where I have this like cool earthbent army and living that vision of like, oh, I have an army of earthbent lands and I'm like really doing the cool thing, throwing all my lands at my opponent. Yeah, but what about like Sunfall and EDH? Okay, well, what if they just like came back to the battlefield? What if we just like it feels like a move that's just so like unlike any other decision they've made about turning your lands into creatures, that because specifically probably because it's an avatar set, right? Introducing newer players to the game, it doesn't feel good to have your lands destroyed, but at the end of the day, like because it's Universes Beyond being designed for Standard, and now we have this mechanic in Standard where it's like ordinarily you have what are essentially these crazy value cards that are kind of designed with EDH taken into consideration in the casual experience. It just, what is probably designed with the intention of leading to less feel bad scenarios, mechanically and competitively, a little busted. Yeah, a little busted. I think about that every time I think about Earthbend in general too, Jaden. I think it's just like we really had to design this in a way where it's like the least like counterplay is involved, like the least amount of counterplay as possible. I think Exile being able to like manage Earthbent lands should have been the way that this whole thing was under wraps, because first off, there aren't really a whole lot of great ways to exile creatures in Standard as it is. I guess you could like searing what's the 2 mana searing something to exile a creature at instant speed, 3 damage, exile it, right? But for the upside of what Badgermal Cub is, maybe that's kind of okay that counterplay exists. I don't know. At the very least, you're like left with a 2/2, you know? Edge of Eternities, exactly. Like the 5 mana, like exile all creatures sweeper. That feels like appropriately powerful that it should be able to manage your opponent's Earthbent stuff, given how powerful those cards are. Am I dying? I guess I go like Conduit Pylon, skip on Unrequiting Hex, play Green Blade again, and kill off this Hearth Elemental. It is a 6/7 Green Blade. Grab another Pylons. Pass it back. Munella 1 says, I hope Gaia's Cradle comes back before Earthbend rotates out. Good luck. Jaden says, I actually have a great matchup into green, but can't help every time that I lost that my opponent made basically 0 decisions and still killed me as quickly, if not faster, than optimally played prowess. Yeah, the numbers and the scaling are just kind of too nuts, and it's also just it's you know, the problem inherent to landfall too, which is just like, oh, you mean the way you enable your stuff is just by doing the thing that every deck ever made does, other than oops all spells, I guess. You know, oh, you're rewarded for hitting your land drops? Crazy. And I have nothing against landfall mechanically, but with the general like power creep going on, the more that these like easy to pay off strategies improve in power, the less good it feels, I guess. I think landfall cards used to be pretty bad generally, right? Am I dying? I think I'm probably dying. How do I win? How do I stay in this? Does the life gain from Esper Origins matter that much? I think it's probably just better to get 2 creatures on the field here and hold back blocks. I think I'm probably dying, though. Depot says, what if they made Earthbend and Landfall not interact? I think that's also one of the mistakes they made in the way they worded that rules text. Is that, yeah, just that the lands re-enter. It's like, okay, come on. What are we actually doing here? Like, not. It feels like, once again, just that problem of too many cards in standard, too many sets being put into standard, not enough time to like consider the implications of how their designs are working. Playing against some kind of Opus list. Okay. Not a huge fan of that horse. It's kind of ranching me. Is this a Requiting Hex matchup? I'm not sure. Is Duress good? Getting information from their hand is good. Desert Stew probably pretty good. Oko probably not that good. Cut up the Maelstrom Pulses. Cut the Curses. I think their creatures are just too big. If I cut a land? No. Oh, I'm on the play. Yeah, let's try it like this. Earthbender Ascension Jaden is pretty egregious. That card is pretty busted. Seems good. Good enough, perhaps, for an opener. Needs a 3rd land drop, but we'll be hanging out for a little bit. That's okay. Turn 1 island. Let's see if they have a spell pierce here, I guess. No pierce. No instant. Being able to turn off their flow state is going to be a pretty big deal here. Turn 2 Thundering Falls. Double Requiting Hex in hand. Might not matter, given how slow their start is here. They may just skip 2 drops. We draw a 3rd land, which is ginormous for us. Devin Fuller says, funny too how Airbender's Ascension is the only one remotely playable. The only other one remotely playable. Yeah, Firebending is like okay though, right? At the end of the day, it's really just a bear. I feel like if you were in a deck that could abuse like picking it up and playing it again, like with Pixies maybe, could be okay. I'm gonna go for the Surek here, assuming they're on Get Out. Get fucked, I guess. There's also like a crazy like dream scenario with the red one too, though, right? I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not saying it's good. It has it's people have tried it and it clearly does not look that good, but I would agree that definitely the blue one is stone cold unplayable. And Stone Cold Steve Austin. Target Surak with Broadside Barrage. RIP in peace, my friend. Draw another Ghost Vacuum, so I can go Green Blade for a Conduit Pylons. Have double Ghost Vacuum online is pretty big. Okay, what up, Olivia? But I know you're not Olivia. You are the guy that's borrowing their fiance's wife's account, YouTube account, girlfriend's account. RC practice, question mark. Yeah, RC practice. So I'm skipping RC Cincinnati. I don't want to go into the details too much, but basically it's just accommodations plans fell through. I should have exiled their graveyard here. But I'm still planning on going to RC DC. We bait them into playing the Hearth Elemental. That was the master strategy all along. Get to hit them with the Delian Fell here. Feels pretty good. Actually kind of a good turn cycle for us. Devin says, I swear Surak never survives a turn, but they have to kill it, and it's kind of inherently a 2-for-1. There was a, yeah, Munella 1 brings up a good point. Earlier against the Dimir tempo list, where they have a lot of, like, targets your creatures but not actually kills it stuff, we did draw 4 cards off of a Surak, which was nuts. Every time they went to counter my stuff, and it was the best Surak I've ever played. 3 mana for a 4/3 draw 4. Everything is okay, Olivia. Everything is okay. Thank you for your concern. Just some family stuff, basically. I had plans to stay with my uncle and double checked with him multiple times that yeah, that weekend's good, and then my last double check was just like, oh yeah, I'm out of town. Kind of a fuckhead, but that's okay. Still love him. We're drawing cards. Could duress my opponent here, but I actually think it's probably just better to swing with the cottage. Continue to make their graveyard situation a living hell. No, genuinely everything's okay. It really just comes down to the fact that, like, part of my... So I was planning on going to the RC alone, right? So that's like a 5-hour, 6-hour drive for me, about. But made up for the fact that I have family in Cincinnati to hang out with if I, like, 0-3 drop, you know what I mean? And just the fact that that's kind of being taken off the table makes the whole situation a little less appealing. So rather than, like, scramble to find a hotel room or someone to stay with at the last minute, easier to just call it and just, like, be excited for the next one, right? I still have another RC that I'm going to, so not the end of the world. Was I upset at my uncle? A little bit, but not the end of the world. Let's go down on the hexes. It doesn't seem like they're particularly they're much more spell elementals leaning. I wonder if they don't even have targets for the requiring hexes. Let's just cut them entirely. Maybe we bring in the Disdainful Strokes. They might just be spell elementals, right? Based on how, like, gutted they were by that. Graveyard Hate? I think that's okay. Well, turn 1 Ghost Vacuum. with the Surak back up. Hashtag snap keep, and we draw a Free Strider Lookout to enable it. Literal nightmare material for my opponent here. I think I like the turn 2 Glade over the Gulch here to be able to go like turn 3 Surak, turn 4 Lookout, ping, activate the Ghost Vacuum. If the worst thing they can do to me is like just play the horse, you know? It's a horse, right? Is it like 3-drop with haste? That's what I'm referring to. But outside of that, I think I can kind of just pummel their face in with Surak. Kind of an all-time like sideboard card for me here. I could just go for the Lookout here. That's actually probably better. Just the fact that it's like a window where I don't have to worry about counter magic anyway. It's probably best to exile something now. Just get rid of the flow state. Hit a cottage. So now they have to go like instant into flow state. And if their whole turn is just like turning on flow state and drawing cards, I don't think I care that much. Ral. Okay. Surak. Well, I guess probably best thing to do is get Delian online, huh? I think I just want to threaten this. I should have swung first. I don't think it'll matter that much. They just block. Okay. Do crimes. Let's go ahead and set an upkeep stop and then exile the get out in their upkeep here. Crazy mana advantage. An absurd mana advantage. Way ahead on board, too. Ahead on board. Pretty much parity with cards in hand. Threatening to maybe ult Delian Fel. I'm not sure that this is the best list to ult Delian Fel, but it's not that bad. We gain some life from the Esper Origins. Yeah, the Lookout's gotten me 3 lands already, which is like insane for a 3-drop that also has reach. You know, 3 mana, 3/3 with reach. They roll down the Ral. It's not typically where you want to be on an empty board. Not typically where you want to be. They've turned on their flow states for the future, but in doing so, they had to discard a flow state. Tapped Thundering Falls. They can't cast a crab. Sunderflock. Okay. Yeah, absolutely ranched. Opt. So they can no longer cast a crab this turn. They could cast a Hearth Elemental, but that's pretty easily managed by my Delian Fel here. Color Storm Stallion. Elemental Horse. It's my Delian Fel. Draw into a Disdainful Stroke. Okay. I think I'm just going to kill off the horse with my Delian Fel. Put myself in a position where I can hold up the Disdainful Stroke. Do crimes. Destroy everything they've ever loved. Set an upkeep stop. Give them a window to cast a crab here if they want to, I guess, but go ahead and exile this flow state. Munella once says, it would be funny if the good professor's emblem made Esper Origin burn out the opponent. I do feel like that possibility exists in this deck, right? You know, it threatens to gain 4 life if you cast both sides, and then also the food tokens from the cottages. There are some scenarios where I think getting an early emblem could be a difference maker, but usually I think just drawing cards and having the option to kill your opponent's stuff or gain life. It's the flexibility that's really the key here. I'm gonna let this resolve. Let them go for a Sunderflock. Oh no. Okay. No Sunderflock. That is a-okay. Let's draw cards. Hit a green blade. I think I'm going to do green blade crimes here. And then cast the front side of an Esper Origins, drawing into another Esper Origins. Kind of nasty with it. Let's continue to hold up. Disdainful Stroke. And I think rather than casting a second Esper Origins, we'll hold up enough mana to pay for a Spell Pierce. 2. Seems correct to me. Just pass here. Hard to imagine a scenario where they pull this out. They need, like, exactly Sunderflock plus Spell Snare here, probably. Do a crime by targeting their Sunderflock. Deadly Cover Up on top. I think that's a good thing to leave on top here, because if they do manage to resolve a Sunderflock, just having a board wipe is the best answer to that. And they scoop it up. And they scoop it up. It's just that simple, folks. It's just that simple. 3-0. 3-0. I think, do I have time to keep it rolling? Usually I end at 5, but I'm going to keep it rolling. Ending the game with more life than I started. Currently, for those keeping score at home, 8-0 on stream. Currently 8-0 with Sultai Deserts. Let's see if we can get a back-to-back 5-0 run, I guess. Run it back. Pretty good opener. It needs a third land, but it can be any land, and we'll be feeling pretty okay. Will we go 10-0 with Sultai Deserts? Is Sultai... Local streamer breaks standard with deserts? It's more likely than you'd think. We draw a land, huge. Untapped, no less. Cheapest mana base in standard by a lot. We're not even playing shocks. Turn 2 Spectral Sailor. Okay. I think I'm going to be doing okay here, folks. I think I'm doing just fine. Land on top, untapped source. Let's skip that. Let's just go for the double lookout cheese. Open up our mana like crazy. Maybe it's better to go for a green blade first, just to have that, like, fast threat online. But I just can't help myself. I just can't help myself. Vote on your phones. Do you like the the Virgin Outcaster Greenblade curve out where you like just actually have a better threat early, or the Chad double Free Strider lookout? I love a double Free Strider lookout. I simply cannot help myself. Frog Butler, huh? Alright, we can trade at this point. We can trade. I'll deny you mana. If you want to block, I'll deny you the mana. I already got mine. Okay. RIP in peace. Simic Guildgate. The value is unparalleled. I agree. I mean, Outcaster Greenblade is a value card too, though, right? But it is unparalleled if you have the lookout. Go for a Greenblade. Oh, they're big. Can I interest you in two 3-mana 7/8s? Threatening to become even larger? Hit a Restless Cottage off of the lookout, too? Holy smokes, folks. We're off to the races. Spectral Sailor, by the way. Someone explain to me what my opponent's up to. Lethal Green Blades. Drawn to... Lethal Green Blades. Someone put a counter on the screen. How many free Esper Origins have we hit this run? I feel like it's been a million? It's been like absolutely a million. It's been insane. I'm just gonna swing in. They don't have anything. It's been insane. I swear this is like the 10th actually of like free like off of a Conduit Pylon's Esper Origins that I've hit. Munello one says, newsflash, deserts have overtaken MTGO. Is it hate groups disbanding because every deck is Sultai? Cub reintegrated into society. Blue-black tempo considered fun rogue deck. Kaito down to 5 cents per card. Get your desert stocks in while you can, folks. It's the hotness. It is the hotness. What are we playing against? What's going on? Bring in, I think I'm just gonna bring in Desert Stews. Cut a Ghost Vacuum. Cut an Oko. I think this all looks pretty good, like generically good. Maybe Unagi for my final Deadly cover-up. I have to assume they're on like a creature strategy, right? I genuinely have no idea. We saw frogs and sailors. That's all. I go first? I wanted to go 5-0, but at what cost? At what cost? Thornwood Falls, my nemesis. Come on, untapped land for turn 3. Give me the double lookout into Bonnie. Thaz's Chocobo. I'm just gonna kill this now. I don't think there's too much of a point thinking about it too much. Untapped land for turn 3! With a Festering Gulch on top, we'll pass on that one. Jay Sather says, one of my favorite things is when someone gets put up against Desert's list, they screenshot it and ask which one of us is in the Discord as their enemy. That is pretty funny. It's interesting seeing how many random opponents, like, it went from 0 to some amount of people like playing Deserts on the ladder, which I think is kind of interesting. It's fun. Mischievous Mystic. The value is overwhelming. Simply target your opponent. No, whiff. That's okay. We can't even cast a Bonnie next turn because of that. If we had hit any land, we would have been in Bonnie territory, but Bioengineered Future, 3 mana. When this enchantment enters, create a land or token. Each creature you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each land that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. Huh. Cards I own. Back at it again, huh? Says Devin. Yeah. True, true. Fire up a cottage here. Let's just do crimes the old-fashioned way. Swing on in. Infinity lands. Put them to 6. They just straight up take it. This card seems like not great, right? Wait. A 4-mana 4/4 reach? What is this, Hearthstone? I feel like my opponent just played a Chillwind Yeti against me. Alright, well. They swing in with them. They have not triggered the Mystic once. GG. GG. Jay Sather says, since February, the value of Lookout has gone up 33%, by the way. 30 to 40 cents. Okay, I know Chillwind Yeti is a 4/5. That one was for the Hearthstone heads in the comments. But it just felt like very like Chillwind Yeti coded though, right? Just like my opponent plays a vanilla card against me. And it's not my doing that Lookout's going up, though. I mean, there have been a couple dumps with people playing like Golgari mid-range with Lookouts and Ghost Vacuums, right? Fun run. 9-0 so far. Final match here. Hot Ground Yeti. Shout out to Chillwind Yeti, the OG. Shout out to Chillwind Yeti. Jaden says, it is cool to see someone playing and iterating on the same archetype. I have been playing these deserts lists for like months now, haven't I? I don't know why. I just find them very fun. Jaden says, even though I'm not really a deserts believer, you would say that around here? Bold of you. I do enjoy the content. Well, I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and mulligan this. I believe with my whole heart, Devin. I believe with my whole freaking heart, dude. Opponent leads on a plains. Go with the Lush Oasis here. Cross our fingers we draw a land on turn 2. We draw a land on turn 2, everything's going smoothly. Well, folks, mono white life gain, or mono white cats. Bant cats, playing against Bant cats here. If I don't draw a land, maybe I do lose this game, but I find it hard to believe that I could lose this match. We'll see, though. They are off to a pretty good start. If I draw a black source, this Withering Curse looks pretty nuts. Hey, look. This Withering Curse looks pretty nuts, right? I think I just jammed that. Clear up everything except the Pridemates. I think that's okay. Felidar Savior. Literally mono white cats is what I'm playing against. Doesn't distribute their... Oh, it can't put a counter on itself. Interesting. Go ahead and kill off the Pridemate here. I will give you this, Jaden, as far as the legitimacy of Jund and our Sultai deserts goes, and the deserts, so on and so forth. I have a pretty big sample size of matches, but I will admit to you that for whatever reason, I do tend to run up against like mono white cats in a sizable portion of that sample size. So, I think it's like a pretty good deck. I think it's a mid-range deck at the end of the day, you know, and mid-range kind of has some problems in standard and in Magic in general, but if you pack your mid-range deck with the right answers, it can look pretty good. But generally and kind of at its core, I think the Outcaster Greenblade is a pretty powerful card. It's very efficient. The question really is, does the cost outweigh the benefits? And I think a lot of the times it does. I want to get double blue for the Bonnie Paul, so I think I'm going to go with the Green Blade here. Pretty unlikely to die anytime soon. Opponent's doing cat stuff. Jaden says, I'm sorry for not believing, but I do be casting revs on turn 5. Okay. You do you. You do what you think is fun. That's the beauty of Magic. Jay Sather says they do give you so many cat opponents for whatever reason. They do. I don't know. Y'all see that I'm in a standard league. It just happens occasionally, I guess. Swinging in with the Felidar Savior. Maybe they have a combat trick here. Maybe not. Claws out. Okay. I guess I could have played around Claws out. We're onto a Requiting Hex. Requiting Hex to kill off the Marshal, pretty good. We can also get Bonnie online, which is pretty good. So I go make an Elk. Play Bonnie. Make bow. Make Oko Elko. Let's swing with the Elko rather than the Tramply Elk, just to be able to hold back this Elk as a blocker, just in case. Put our drawn conduit pylons onto the battlefield. Another requiting hex. Let's pass on that one. Jaden says these standard events are a little skewed because brand new players' best way to get wildcards is by playing these. Yeah, MTGO is so much better than Arena for RC practice. Probably. Nate Mullen, what up? Says I'm having a lot of fun with a Naya Deserts list. Let's go. I feel like Naya is a pretty good color combination for deserts. You get Day of Judgment, which is a pretty big deal. I feel like the card advantage situation is a little worse in those colors, and I really have come to like Disdainful Stroke as a reason to be in blue, but you can really kind of make any color combination work as long as you're base green, I think. Hit them for 3. Let's go ahead and blight onto the Elko here. Keep them from being able to activate the Marshal on their turn. No. Target this. Do a blight. Gain a little life. Cat collector. They do be collecting cats. I just think me being able to gain life now with like Restless Cottage, etc., etc. They're not really going to be able to swing into me anytime soon. I think that all means that this game's a little out of reach for them. Maybe I actually just Bitter Triumph the Arabo. Doesn't matter that much. I don't think it matters that much. I want to commit a crime. I guess it's kind of free to do this because I'm going to roll up Oko anyway. And if I commit a crime first, it's better. Drawn to another Bitter Triumph. Okay. Copy Elko. Swing with the cottage. I guess we swing with bow. I don't think it super matters. There's not really anything they can top deck to kill me here. Deadly cover up. Okay. Put a free conduit pylons into play. Extra surveil. Ghost vacuum. We'll skip on that. 2 mana to be able to sack food here is pretty nice. Nate Mullen says Arc of Hunger and Quint's Insight goes crazy with Ice Tail Explorer and some other burn. Hell yeah, dude. Super fun. And you're doing this in deserts? That's spicy. That's spicy. I'm a big fan of the idea of Quint's Insight plus Ice Tail plus Arc of Hunger. In practice, I think it's maybe a little too clunky, but it's definitely like fun, especially if you manage to put it all together. Drawn to a Withering Curse. Interesting. I guess I'll just continue to do crimes and draw cards with Oko here. Discard a land. I'll be able to get that back with Bonnie. Play the Lookout. Copy the Lookout with Oko for extra crime triggers. I mean, I'm just going to swing in with everything. Munilla one says Cottage Echo. I believe Cottage Co. Like Oko, but Cottage Co. I think Cottage Co. Pretty sure if you do that, it just dies. Or rather, not dies, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. You can. It'll just become a land. Actually, you know what? I've never done it. I'm pretty sure it just becomes a land, but I'm gonna do it for science because my question is now: can you do it as a way to like sneakily get a little extra mana in your second main phase? Not extra, but if you're gonna swing with like the cottage anyway. Opponent plays the Savannah Lions. Let's see if they let me do it. Oh no, they scoop it up. Like, for example, if I had 6 mana, right? And that's enough to fire up the Restless Cottage, and I have a Bitter Triumph in hand and an Oko on the field, right? Can I copy the Restless Cottage with Oko to be able to turn it into a land? So fire up the Restless Cottage, copy the cottage with Oko, and then clear a blocker with the Bitter Triumph at instant speed because I now have like an extra land in the form of my Oko to tap and work with. It's a very like probably a situation that's not going to come up too much, but kind of interesting to think about. Bring in the Desert Stews, take out the Ghost Vacuums, bada bing, bada boom. Seems fine. It would be a tight play if you pull it off. And I'm like 99% sure that works, but not a hundo P. Hit you with a Gulch. I can't think of a reason why that wouldn't work. The cats are popping off. It's too bad for them that our mana is like pretty good this time around. We're going to be able to deploy our stuff. No worries. Double Iron Paw Assistant. Classically gets blown out by Maelstrom Pulse. I think I'm just going to go for that here to keep them off of like a crazy like go wide play. These are cats. Cat warriors, in fact. A Johnny. They're so deep that they're on the cat planeswalker. I guess it does make cats, but I don't know if anyone's ever seen this actually make cats. Swings with the 4/4 Vanguard. I think I just kill off the Vanguard, right? Because then I'm going to get at least one extra activation with the Delian Fell, probably. Classically, no haste really in white. Pretty sure it's just that easy. Felidar Savior. Cool, cool. Oh, we draw into a Desert Stew. Kind of a big draw. Lets me keep my... I think I'm just going to go for that. Lets me keep my Delian Fell around here. I'm going to roll it up to have the option of killing something off again next turn. Take a Green Blade. Delian Fell is like such a huge buff for this deck. It's kind of exactly what it needed to be a little more legitimate. Cats managed to get 11 damage in. That's about as good as it gets. Yeah, they're just not gonna be able to recover from this position. They do have an Ajani, right? Like this could ult, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna matter. I think I just go for the Esper Origins here. Maybe I'm supposed to go for double Green Blade, actually. Double Green Blade is probably better. I'm gonna skip on both of these. Try to hit a permanent. I think I can afford to do that. I could also, there's maybe an argument for just taking the Withering Curse, so that if they do actually ult the Ajani, you just Withering Curse and kind of laugh. Continue to draw cards here. Draw into another Delian Fell. Okay. So they can actually minus to give Double Strike to the Cat Collector if they feel like they have to. Double Strike and Flying if they feel like they have to kill my Delian Fell here. They may opt to do that. They just put a counter on the Cat Collector. Offer a Tradesies, perhaps. No. Does not offer a Tradesies. Are they going to be able to make cats here? Am I going to regret skipping on the Withering Curse? I could go double Lookout, open up my mana like crazy. I might as well draw first, right? I think double Lookout, open up my mana like crazy is pretty good. force a block. Swing at the Ajani. I think we are about to see 21 cats. We'll see if it's good enough. Probably going to be pretty good. 21 cats. Lay down your paws. Give up the fight. Is that anything? 21 cats coming right up. Creatures they control get 1/1. Okay. $19 cats to be fair. Beatable. I do want a redraw off of Delianfell here. I think I'm just gonna block like this. Desert Stew. Trample on my guys. Let's take the redraw. Restrider Lookout. It was there that he knew. He fucked up. This is all I got, folks. Should have taken the Withering Curse. Should have taken the Withering Curse. Okay, well, give him a little freebie. We still have game 3 here. Let's bring in Conduit Pylons. Let's take out Unagi. Not going to do a whole lot here. Bit of an oopsies in it. I feel like Oko on the play is pretty good. Not generally very good in the creature decks, but not going to be bad. No. the hubris a little bit. I wish I had, during my surveil, taken into consideration the possibility of, like, what if I just can't deal with the Ajani and they have cats? Oops. Yeah, definitely a goof on my part. This is good enough, I think. Definitely a goof. I mean, it would be kind of hilarious if, against all odds, my one loss in a across 10 matches is to mono white cats. Feeling pretty good, especially drawing an untapped source for turn 3 here, though. Another green blade. Grab a blue source. Plains. Arbo. The first fang. I think we get the lookout going. Get the lookout going, opens up more options for the future. Throws the green blade. Another green blade on top. I think I take it. I think I'm going to start swinging. Blocks with the 2/2, fine. Plains. The Johnny's Pridemate. Makes cats, kind of a problem. Vanguard makes cats, kind of a problem. I kind of forgot Arbo makes cats. Like, after the first one. Pretty sweet. I like that card. I'm going to set an upkeep stop and plan to Bitter Triumph the Arbo on their turn. But I think I can afford to just, on this turn, go for, like, another green blade into Gulch for crimes. Continue to grow the green blade. Now we have one on that we can leave back on defense, which is a pretty big deal. Swing in for 6, 7. In their upkeep, we'll go for the Bitter Triumph. Do crime. Hit another desert. Ginormous green blades. We'll leave a Bitter Triumph on top. I think that's pretty good. Another Arabo. It's fine. They don't really have good attacks. I'm still at 20. Helpful Hunter. I mean, That's pretty good. I think I go for the Esper Origins here to be able to like threaten trample eventually though. If there's a Withering Curse on top, I'm going to leave it. Deadly Cover Up, I'm going to leave that for sure. Get to draw into a Delian Fell. So I'm kind of incentivized to not do crimes, right? Because I really want to draw this Deadly Cover Up. I need to survive the possibility of them having claws out. I'm going to win on card advantage kind of no matter what. You have to search if you play Greenblade. You have to resolve the Free Strider Lookout trigger. I could just like make Elk. Maybe you just play the Delian Fell and like kill the Arabo. And then what are they going to do? Attack Delian Fell and give up like so much material just to get through? I think I like that. Oh no. Oh, I haven't committed a crime yet this turn. That's a little annoying. I thought I had already committed a crime. Okay. RIP in peace to Deadly Cover Up. Let's hold on to this forest to be able to discard to Oko, I think. I mean, maybe I just hit them, right? Claws Out is 2/2 to all cats. Maybe I wait. Swing with... Okay, so they don't block, and then they swing with everything, and that's what... I can block 3 of them, and I take 6 plus... Yeah, it's okay. We'll swing with a Green Blade. Trade a Green Blade for a cat, or a... Not trade, but trade the option to block with Green Blade for one of their cats. I guess the scariest thing they could do is double Claws Out, right? They do be having cats, though. Shout out to all of my Mugenics enjoyers out there. Pretty fun game. Been playing that in my free time lately. Disgusting, nasty art, but a fun gameplay loop. Western Gulch off the Tizop. Maybe we just gain life and put the possibility of them like alpha striking me to death out of reach, and then I like make a board and eventually just trample over everything next turn if they don't deal with my Esper Moduin, right? Because I can make a really disgusting board here and hold up a Bitter Triumph probably. Grab the Sandstorm Verge for future purposes. Play the Oko. Set an upkeep stop to be able to activate my Cottage. Make Elk. Do crime on this turn and do crime on their turn probably. Yeah, I don't think they can win anymore. The 2/2 and trample, with them not like having ways to deal with this board probably is just way too good. Restless Cottage on top. Yeah, we'll keep that. Guaranteed land hit for when I do a crime on their turn. If I was really smart, I always forget that this is... It's not that I forget. I know it's something I can do. I just always like... I'm always impatient with my land drops. If I were a little better at the game, I would play my land drop in my second main phase after I've copied my Free Strider Lookout with Oko, because then you can get 2 crime triggers. Just a little heads up to the people that like play slowly and pay attention to the, like their sequencing. It's such a small thing, but it's not irrelevant, like especially in like earlier in the game where you have potentially less resources than I currently do. Right now it's not going to matter, but play an Iron Paw Aspirant. There's pretty much no way they can win here. My Green Blades are just far bigger than their Ajani's Pridemates could ever dream to be. Trigger the Lookout. Hit another Cottage. And they scoop it up. 10-0, baby. 10-0. 10-0. Okay, mono white cats in the final inning. I understand, but 10-0. Like we had some pretty serious matchups across that run. I would have had to delete the VOD otherwise. I don't know. Maybe it would have been a little embarrassing, but at the same time, like, good for mono white cats. You know what I mean? Pretty fun run. Thank you all for hanging out. Got another hardened academic. I'm gonna have to toy around with that card now that I keep opening them. Slumbering Trudge. Green and an X plant beast. When this creature enters with a number of stun counters on it equal to 3 minus X. If X is 2 or less, it enters tapped. 6/6. Okay, the one cool thing that I feel like is a little underexplored with this card is that you can find it off of a Bright Glass Gearhulk alongside Melt Strider's Resolve to like actually have a consistent big body to kill off your opponents like Eddy Mert crabs and stuff with, Thunderflock, so on and so forth. Enter stunned, yeah, whatever. But like 1 mana 6/6 body to be able to like actually fight big things with, I think is kind of cool. Shout out to Bright Glass Gearhulk, by the way. Here's Exhibition Tidecaller, the card that Evan was referencing earlier, perhaps? Jay Sather? Don't remember who specifically, sorry. 1 mana 0/2, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target player mills 3 cards. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast that spell, that player mills 10 cards instead. Interesting. Seems like a modern card to me. Like, you would just self-mill. Use this to self-mill, right? Okay, fun run. Appreciate you all hanging out. I am going to F&M tonight, by the way, so expect a little F&M report. I think I'm just going to play Sultai Deserts. I don't think I have anything else sleeved up. Got a good little bit of practice in here with it. The beautiful 10-0 run. Tell your friends. Check out the Eric MTG stream if you want to see the spicy Sultai Desert runs. I know I've been playing this like list nonstop, basically, as far as my content goes, but still just kind of practicing for RC, getting my reps in. Will I be making more videos? Yes. I just haven't been playing that much Magic lately, and so the well is a little bit dry right now as far as like new deck ideas goes. But when I open stuff like Hardened Academic and like Slumbering Trudge, and I'm like, ooh, could do the Bright Glass Gearhulk thing. Maybe it's time for Bright Glass Gearhulk to have a little resurgence, or try out the Hardened Academic in the Arc of Hunger build. So I think as long as I keep playing and like opening more cards, eventually more videos are just likely to follow as I try out new things. So keep an eye out. Appreciate y'all hanging out. The Eric Slay the Spire. More like the Eric Mugenics right now, TBH. Jaden says, Arcane Omens, 5-color deserts when? What is Arcane Omens? What is Arcane Omens? Oh. Oh no. Oh. Is this I don't think this card's very good, right? In certain matchups it could be interesting. It seems like a pretty bad top deck. I'm a fan of playing cards that are good top decks. That's kind of where I'm at usually. I feel like this is like It won a challenge? That's pretty spicy. It feels like, yeah, it feels like a Astral Cornucopia? Whatever the Ancient Cornucopia. It feels like an Ancient Cornucopia, like Withering Curse, like sort of like dumb, playing the big dumb expensive cards kind of deck. The one all become one or whatever. What's that big colorless card? This is a bad search parameter. Together as one. Yeah, it feels like that kind of like deck, right? It's Peak Slop. Yeah. Agreed. It's Ugin Slop. Okay. Thanks, folks. Appreciate you hanging out. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll catch you next week. Have a beautiful day, as always. Appreciate you watching. Bye-bye.